on board have died and at least 8 people are possibly infected. CBS's Bradley Blackburn.
Overnight, health officials in protective gear helped evacuate 3 people from the cruise suspected of having the virus. Nearly 150 other passengers remain quarantined on board.
This is one of those unusual circumstances where hantavirus is spreading from person to person.
Swiss authorities announced Wednesday that a man who previously traveled on the ship and returned home at the end of April just tested positive for the Andes strain of the disease.
Ted Turner, the founder of CNN and former owner of the Atlanta Braves, has died at the age of 87. CNN anchor Wolf Blitzer talked about him during his show and says when Turner hired him in 1990, he was very clear about what he wanted CNN to become.
He was so determined to make sure that the news was strong, was reliable, was fair, and he inspired me and so many other journalists to work and report the news fairly and accurately, and if possible, break those stories first.
This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
At President Trump's urging, the FDA has approved some fruit-flavored vapes for adults. More from CBS News correspondent Michael Wallace.
For years, the FDA rejected flavored electronic cigarettes after they became popular with teens. Now, the agency has okayed fruit-flavored vapes made by Los Angeles-based Glass and is requiring the company to make sure its advertising is targeting adults ages 21 and older. In a statement, the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids says the FDA's approval puts at risk the progress the nation has made in reducing youth e-cigarette use. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Oil prices sink and stock markets burst higher worldwide with hopes that a deal is nearing to allow tankers to deliver crude from the Persian Gulf again. The price for a barrel of Brent fell below $102 today. The Dow jumped 612 points. The Nasdaq closed up 2%, and the S&P 500 rose 106 points. Stock markets abroad jumped even more. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. And now the news.
54 degrees under cloudy skies on this Wednesday from the Davis & Davis studios in Uniontown. I'm Nick Barczyk. It is 5:05. Davis & Davis attorneys at law. Injured, call today for your free consultation, 724-437-2799. Your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS, the Weather Watch and Sports on the way in just a bit. The Pennsylvania State House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved a bill this week to study whether the Keystone exams can be replaced in schools by other standardized tests like the SAT or ACT. Supporters of the measure argue that using existing college readiness exams would reduce student stress, better align with their future goals, and potentially save the state millions of dollars in administrative costs. The proposed study would evaluate if these alternatives meet federal accountability standards and Pennsylvania's academic requirements. The bill now goes to the state Senate for its consideration. 3 UPMC hospitals in southwest Pennsylvania are now at risk for closure as cuts to Medicaid go into effect, according to a new report from consumer watchdog Public Citizen. UPMC Green, Mercy, and McKeesport were among the over 440 U.S. hospitals identified as vulnerable because of recent financial losses and their reliance on Medicaid, CHIP, and other low-income government programs. Highlands Hospital out of Connellsville also made the list. In July, Congress passed and President Trump signed a spending bill that will slash federal contributions to Medicaid and CHIP by more than $900 billion over a decade. The Governor Shapiro's reelection campaign raised over $3.5 million between March 31st and May 5th this year, boosting the campaign's cash on hand to $37 million. State Treasurer Stacey Garrity, the governor's likely Republican opponent, has not yet released her campaign's fundraising numbers from the same time frame, but Shapiro's campaign outraised hers 10-1 over the first 3 months of the year, bringing in more than $10 million. The governor has no opponents in the May 19th election as a Democrat. Garrity is also running unopposed in the primary for the GOP nomination. Enforcement of a law banning handheld phone use behind the wheel in Pennsylvania begins June 6th. Paul Miller's law has been in effect for the last year, though police can only issue warnings. Starting next month, drivers convicted of distracted driving will face a $50 fine. The law bans drivers from holding or pressing more than one button on a mobile phone while operating a car, any motor vehicle, including while stopped at red lights and stop signs, as well as reaching for a mobile device in such a way that the driver is no longer in a seated driving position. The use of hands-free devices and screens built into vehicles remains legal. Governor Shapiro signed the legislation into law in 2024. Tax day was 3 weeks ago, and you likely have already spent your tax return.
According to the IRS filing season statistics, the average IRS tax return this year was about $3,400. Experian says 37% of us use that refund for debt reduction, 22% put it in savings, and a surprising twist, only 8% use that money for fun stuff like vacations and dinners out. But that money didn't sit long. More than half of us spent it within 2 weeks. I'm Bree Tennis.
And the jackpot-winning Pennsylvania Lottery Cash 5 with quick cash ticket worth $350,000 was sold for last night's drawing in Westmoreland County. The ticket was purchased at Sheetz on South Main Street in South Greensburg. The retailer is receiving a $500 bonus for selling the top prize winning ticket. More next on WMBS.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
In sports, we have Bucco baseball tonight. Game 2 of a 3-game series in Arizona. Pirates taking on the Diamondbacks. Bucks losing last night 9-0. Paul Skeens on the mound this evening. Stay up late for his pregame at 9:15. Game at 9:40 on WMBS.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51.
This Weather Watch is being brought to you by Centerville Clinics. Do you have black lung? The Black Lung program at Centerville Clinics offers black lung screenings for early detection of lung problems. To set up an appointment, call 724-632-6801, extension 1216. And now to the weather.
Had some rain today, right now at 54, went up to 58 in the afternoon. The low tonight down to 43, up to 62 tomorrow with sun. Low at 41 in the evening. Friday, sunny and 65, but rain likely Saturday throughout the day at 65 for the high and the low at 54. Mother's Day Sunday, rain also likely in the afternoon going up to 70 and the low at 45 in the evening, 62 Monday. Overnight low down below 40 at 38, up to 63 Tuesday with clouds and sun. Right now cloudy and 54 at 5:11 on this Wednesday. And good afternoon from the Davis & Davis studios in Uniontown at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk.
This Weather Watch has been brought to you by Centerville Clinics. Do you have black lung? The Black Lung program at Centerville Clinics offers black lung screenings for early detection of lung problems. To set up an appointment, call 724-632-6801, extension 1216.
And looking at stocks for your Wednesday, Wall Street is closing with stocks sharply higher. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ closed at record highs, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average flirted with the 50,000-point mark again today. It comes as eyes remain fixated on the war in Iran. The U.S. and Iran are reportedly closing in on a memorandum that's aimed at ending the fighting. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 612 points to 49,910. The S&P 500 climbed 105 points to finish at 7365, and the Nasdaq rose 512 points to finish at 25,838. On the way next, it's the Afternoon Drive Show with Doug Saltzman, on until 9 tonight. That's all on the way next on WMBS.
Tired of running out of hot water? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is your local source for reliable tank and tankless gas water heaters. Whether you're replacing an old unit or upgrading to an energy-efficient tankless system, we have options to fit your home and budget. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you get dependable hot water when you need it most. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com. Koval Building Supply. Everything you need to keep your home running comfortably.
Tune in each Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1 for Garden Talk Radio. It's the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Topic focused, guests from across the country, and answering your garden questions. Send your questions in now to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1. Catch the replay Monday evenings from 6 to 7 p.m.
Wind, hail, sudden leaks. When your roof takes a beating, we're here for you at AR Roofing and Remodeling. We're a locally and veteran-owned contractor available 24/7 for repairs. As an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we get the job done right. Call 724-550-3064 or visit arremodels.com for your free estimate.
AR Roofing, never settle.
Is your lawn getting shaggy? Weeds taking over? Maybe it's time for a full yard cleanup or fresh mulch and clean, crisp edges to bring your landscape back to life. Whatever your lawn needs, Z's Ground Control has you covered. They do it right the first time. Call 724-366-9150 today for your free estimate. Z's Ground Control. You grow it, we mow it.
This Mother's Day, forget the candy and flowers. Win Mom a trip to Napa Valley at Live Casino. Earn entries every day starting May 1st and join our drawings on May 10th. You could win Mom-approved gifts like luxury perfumes, spa gift cards, wine subscriptions, and the grand prize, a trip to Napa Valley. Make this Mother's Day a winner at Live Casino. Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's gorgeous outside, which means it's time to get to Bittersweet Cafe of Farmington. From their incredible daily lunch specials featuring farm-to-table fresh ingredients to their refreshing drinks, frozen treats, smoothies, and iced tea, Bittersweet Cafe has something for everyone. Enjoy this beautiful spot nestled in the Laurel Highland Mountains, just a few miles outside of Ohiopyle on Farmington-Ohiopyle Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Sapienza, WMBS's Morning Man, here to remind you of the letters for this week's Name It and Claim It Scrambled Word Game. For the third week in a row, we have 9 letters in this week's puzzle. 9, and they are as follows. Listen up, listen close, listen carefully. O as in ostrich. P as in pound. T as in tarantula. C as in cat. R as in rhinoceros. O as in octopus. E as in eternal. T as in train, and R as in rain. Those letters make up one word. You must use all the letters in your answer. No proper names, please. Should you unscramble those letters into the word we're looking for and are the lucky one chosen, you will win our WMBS Mother's Day prize pack, including a $25 gift card to Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop, a $30 packet of Pennsylvania lottery tickets, a box of chocolates, and some great WMBS swag. Sounds like a great prize pack, huh? Well, here's how you win it. Send in your answer along with your name, address, and phone number to Name It and Claim It, WMBS Radio, 44 South Mount Vernon Avenue, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 15401. Or if you really feel like it, you can drop your answer off personally here at the WMBS Broadcast House at that very same address. Either way, make sure your cards get in by no later than 4 p.m. this Thursday, May 7th. Enter as many times as you like. No purchase is necessary, because it's all from us, your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
morning. It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS. Nick Barczyk here, and joining us is Doug Saltzman. Good afternoon, Doug.
Hey, Nick, how are you? It's been a long time since I've seen you around. The show's been preempted by high school sports, and that's a good reason to preempt a show. No problem with that at all, for heaven's sakes. High school baseball and softball, Pirate baseball in the afternoon, you name it. We've been airing it lately in the afternoon on WMBS. But I was in studio yesterday with Bill. You were doing a baseball game. In fact, that was the final baseball game of the year, right? 9-0, Laurel Highland Mustangs over the Ringgold Rams. And what I thought was neat about that game, as I was listening to it, a senior got the win as pitcher, and a senior got the walk-off hit as well. Isn't that correct?
Yes, Doug, it was a great game, and Peter Greenberg's on the line.
Joining us right now on the WMBS. And how better to talk to the travel editor than the interviewer traveling himself as I make my way into the station. Again, CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg, and, of course, host of Eye on Travel, which we air here on WMBS. Peter, thanks for joining us. Changes are coming, of course, for CBS News Radio, but you're not going anywhere. You're still going to be doing your show now, I understand, syndicated, correct?
That's right. Nothing changes. Seamless transition. Same show, same different locations. I'm talking to you right now, as a matter of fact, as we're transiting the Suez Canal in Egypt. And we'll be broadcasting our show from there in about a week.
Well, that's more exciting than the highway I'm traveling on right now. But, you know, we expect that from you, Peter. At any given moment, you could be anywhere, including Nemacolin Woodlands, I know you were at a couple of years ago. From our station. Yeah, that's a beautiful place. In fact, there were quite a few NFL players were there when the draft was in Pittsburgh a week or so ago. They were staying up there, as you might guess, a great 5-star destination. Well, I wanted to talk to you about how you'll continue your show. We get a lot of questions from listeners knowing that CBS News Radio, sadly, comes to an end on May 22nd. But shows like yours will continue. And we air your show here on WMBS, and I'm very glad to do it. But the one travel news that's hit here in southwestern Pennsylvania, as it has across the nation, is, of course, that's the low-cost carrier. They attempted to merge about a year ago, I guess, and it was shut down by the Justice Department, and they've had a second, a second bankruptcy filing, but they just couldn't make it work. But it was about 3% of the flights out of Pittsburgh International and the sole airline out of Arnold Palmer Airport in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. But even though it's small, it is having an impact on the industry, isn't it?
A big impact, but you mentioned the words low-cost carrier, and that's where we get into trouble, because right now there are no such things as ultra-low-cost carriers, because they have to pay for fuel the way everybody else does. They have to buy their planes the way everybody else does. Their labor costs have increased. Their other goods and services have increased. And their only competitive advantage as far as their original business model, let's face it, was offering really low fares. But listen, I failed math in high school, but I can do basic arithmetic, and those low fares are not going to pay for the operational costs. And at a certain point, the numbers just didn't add up, and Spirit literally ran out of money. You mentioned their attempt to merge earlier on with JetBlue, but remember what that would have meant? Would have been two carriers in trouble merging into one carrier that would be bigger and in trouble. So when you take a look at the landscape now, you're dealing with Frontier, Allegiant, Avelo, and those three carriers are facing some financial hurdles as well for the same reason of their business model. And JetBlue was just 2 weeks ago looking at filing for Chapter 11 themselves. They averted it at the last minute by what? Pledging 22 of their airplanes as collateral to secure a $500 million loan that then allowed the airline to fly through 2026, but no guarantees they'll be flying in 2027 if the oil stays as high as it is now.
Yeah, that is obviously the incredible impact. I just filled up my car at $5 a gallon, and it's much higher in other parts of the country. I think Pennsylvania has the second or third highest fuel tax, along with, I think it's Connecticut, California. But obviously the fuel impact, no matter whether you're a luck airline, I don't know what, or whether you're one of the lower cost ones, you're all paying the same amount for fuel, I suppose, correct?
very few airlines had the financial deep pockets to hedge their fuel bets, and they took a hit with this. I mean, in the JetBlue case, they already had a debt load of $8 billion, and what that means is they were already paying $600 million a year just in interest to service that debt. But since February 28th, their fuel bill went up $1 billion. That's just not sustainable.
Yeah, and when you think about the impact, and as I mentioned, Arnold Palmer Regional Airport, which is in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, not far from our station. Folks around these parts are well aware of Latrobe. You literally can see that airport from where the Steelers training camp is. It's a sole carrier at that airport, and they had just enlarged the size of that. It's a small airport, but they've enlarged a very modern-looking terminal. What happens to an airport like that who lost their sole tenant from a commercial airline standpoint? Now they have plenty of private planes coming in and out of there. So what's the step for an airport like that, in your opinion?
They have to go door to door and knock on the doors of the airlines to basically say, would you please fly here? And what the airlines are going to do is they'll say, okay, we'll come there if you guarantee us at least 72% of the seats will be filled. And anything below 72% of the seats, you're going to have to give us a financial support on that. Now, can the community there do that? I don't know. But that's the model that the big airlines have been following in order to deliver service to those smaller communities.
Talking with Peter Greenberg, CBS travel editor and host of Eye on Travel. A lot of folks, of course, who listen to this show, listen to your show, and we've been getting a lot of questions, as you might guess. What will our station do? My gosh, there's 700 affiliates across the network. They're all, imagine the phone calls and emails that have been going around since that announcement was made. And sad, a lot of your colleagues will be moving on to other places. But you're staying put. Give folks some idea, if they have not heard Eye on Travel, give an idea of what they can learn from your show.
Well, we broadcast this show every week from a different location in the world. So half the show is really about where we are, and the other half is about the issues that you and I just talked about, the issues of the process of travel, and what people need to know before they go anywhere, whether it's airlines, hotels, cruise lines, rental cars, what their rights are, what their rights aren't, and of course how they're going to get the to release them on the show. That's what we talk about every single week.
I apologize. The idea of keeping an eye on travel, and we talked one time, and I talked about the what did I call it? The luxury days of travel, and you made it very clear. No, there really wasn't a great age of travel. But at the same time, obviously, there are airlines at higher fees that offer a luxury accommodations, I suppose, especially if you're going overseas, over to Asia, etc. How much will that change because of fuel prices?
Well, what you're seeing overseas is every airline has to do sort of a scheduled triage because of either the availability of fuel or the cost of fuel. In the last 2 weeks, Lufthansa has canceled 20,000 flights off their schedule, mostly short-haul flights. The airlines get to be competitive, of course, are the long-haul flights, and that's where the luxury gets in. But that doesn't mean the ticket price is going to get any less. A business class ticket right now from New York to Johannesburg is $16,000. And that could go easily up to 20. We're seeing airfares across the board internationally going up 37% since the attack on Iran, and domestically they're up about 20%. So plan accordingly because it's going to get tougher.
Yeah. Now you're not the automotive industry expert, but the airline industry expert. Some folks get confused when they go up to a gas station. Like, wait a minute, wasn't that fuel already in the tanks before this war started? And especially when it came out of. But those fuel prices, whether it's for automobiles or airlines, works very differently. It's all based on futures, correct? And that's why it can have an immediate impact on fuel prices, jet fuel, for instance. Correct?
Exactly, and it's all based on refinery capacity to be able to produce. And if they're not getting the raw goods, everybody's in trouble. The only difference right now in America is we're so addicted to our cars that gas could be as high as $10 a gallon. We're still going to drive because that's what we do. We may pile more people into the cars. We may strap Granny on the roof. But the point is we're still going to drive. But when it comes to other decisions like travel, which are discretionary in many cases, whether it's business or leisure, that's where we're going to take a hit because those numbers are going to go up, and at a certain point, affordability becomes a real factor.
Yeah. So what should folks do now if they're looking at summer travel? Does it make sense to wait and make those reservations? Does it make sense to do them now? If we're stuck,
it makes absolute,
go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense to do it now because there's no scenario that I can see right now of the airfares dropping precipitously. However, they're only going to go up. But on the off chance they do go down, you can always cancel your flight, get an immediate credit for that original fare, rebook it at a lower fare, get a credit for the residual, and use that for another flight. But for everybody who waits every day between now, let's say the middle of July, those airfares are going to go up between 1% and 2% a day.
Wow, that's amazing when you think about 1 or 2%. If you say that by itself, it doesn't sound bad. When you say 1 or 2% a day, that sounds bad. And we'll just see. The price of fuel, regardless of what you're using that fuel for, always seems to go up faster than it comes back down. Or is that just my imagination?
Oh, listen, that's why the airlines increased the baggage fees. If the price of oil goes down, do you think they're going to reduce those fees? No. They're going to stay exactly where they are. And in fact, in some cases, the cost to check your bags may exceed the cost of your ticket. That's how crazy it's getting.
Yeah, when you see some of the fees that come out, Southwest was always famous for having no fees. Those days are over. And I think about the days I used to fly, probably not as much as Peter Greenberg, but I had a job and I was a lobbyist and I was flying about 70 times a year. Out of Pittsburgh, U.S. Airways flew everywhere. You could go anywhere nonstop, but it was darn expensive because, of course, Pittsburgh was a hub. They had 82% of the flights at one point out of Pittsburgh International Airport. In fact, they built the original the second Pittsburgh Airport. We're now onto the third terminal for U.S. Airways, and that certainly changed as well. Peter, we appreciate your taking time to join us today. It's been an honor having you on as CBS News editor, CBS News travel editor, and we'll figure out what your new title is, but seamless change, Ion Travel is still going to be around, and we're glad to hear that. People don't like change, so here's one thing that's not going to change, so we appreciate it. Appreciate you joining us today, Peter.
And we appreciate it, too, and we're looking forward to continuing, so thanks again.
All righty, take care. Peter Greenberg joining us on the WMBS Newsmakers line here on the Afternoon Drive Show. Coming up in a few moments, folks, we're going to check with County Commissioner Scott Dunn. About every quarter, we try to talk to the commissioners, and we had Commissioner Vince Vastides on yesterday, although he had some trouble calling in for the interview, so we might be slightly delayed on that, but we were slightly delayed getting him on, so we're going to have him back to finish the interview with him, but Dunn is going to be joining us here after the CBS News break at the bottom of the hour. And then, of course, a brief break as well. But we're with you until 9 o'clock, Nick. Are you going to be sick of me by the time all this is over?
Absolutely not. If I'm awake, I mean, that's, I may not even stay awake. Plus, we have a Pirate game after that, so it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, you're going to be here quite a while. But in addition to Commissioner Dunn, we've got a whole slew of guests, as you might imagine. Rob Owen's going to join us from TV. We're going to talk to him about a number of topics, the latest on TV. Of course, as always, Elizabeth Stell from the Commonwealth Foundation will talk to us about school choice. And then we're going to check in with Dr. Robert Thompson from Syracuse University, talk to him about the impact, the career of Ted Turner, who has passed away. Of course, he was the guru behind CNN. But first, let's hit that CBS News Brief.
CBS News Brief. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick tells the House Oversight Committee that he had neither a personal nor professional relationship with Jeffrey Epstein during the 14 years they were neighbors. Democrats like Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari of Arizona don't buy it.
People like Howard Lutnick knew these things were happening because they were all over the news and continued to engage and legitimize somebody like Jeffrey Epstein.
Some cruise ship passengers with suspected hantavirus infections are flown to the Netherlands for treatment, and the ship is heading to the Canary Islands, as CBS's Tom Hansen reports.
A statement from Spain's health ministry says medical teams from the islands will examine and treat passengers and crew before sending them back to their home countries.
CNN founder Ted Turner has died at the age of 87. Syracuse University pop culture professor Robert Thompson says Turner changed the news landscape.
I can think of few influences of the 20th century that changed politics more than 24-hour cable news.
CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
This is attorney Michael Mays of the Davis & Davis Law Firm. We have been helping injured people just like you recover millions of dollars for over 45 years. If you're hurt or injured, I want to meet you and make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call me at 724-437-2799 for your free consultation. The Davis & Davis Law Firm has been protecting our neighbors in Greene and Fayette counties for over 45 years. Go to davisanddavislaw.com or call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
Join WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:15 a.m. for the Master Gardener Show with Bert Sessler from Penn State's Master Gardener program. The weekly program will take you through the growing season, from planting your garden, preparing the soil, starting plants from seeds, through to the planting of vegetables, herbs, annuals, and perennials, to the fall harvest of vegetables. Our Master Gardener program is being brought to you each Saturday by Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop, Route 119, Smithfield.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sprowell's Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to sprowellsinsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
That's Huey Lewis and the news. Bring us out of the break. I want to thank CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg for joining us. Of course, he's also host of Eye on Travel, which we air on the weekends, usually on WMBS radio. And that show will continue seamlessly, despite the fact that, what are we down to? Today's the 6th, Nick, if I can do my gazinda's good enough here. What are we, 18 days away from CBS News Radio no longer existing? It sounds bizarre to say that, Nick, doesn't it? To think that the radio home of Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite will no longer be around. It's bizarre, isn't it? I mean, it sounds like that's something that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's very upsetting, and, things change and everything evolves or maybe devolves. But, yeah, I mean, nothing stays the same, nothing's permanent, but you thought that would be something that would stick around forever. But, unfortunately, it is not to be.
Yeah. But we've had a lot of listeners ask what the plans are. We will have a national affiliate. We will be airing national news, and we will continue on that as well, and that's coming up. But as I mentioned earlier, joining us right now is what we call, and once a quarter we try to have on the county commissioners from Fayette County. We spoke to Commissioner Vasidis yesterday, and joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, Fayette County Commissioner Scott Dunn. Commissioner, thank you very much for joining us today, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining Nick and I. Wanted to talk to you about the latest in the county, of course, and you guys are always very generous with your time, always willing to join us to talk about the topics. The one folks are so much talking about, of course, is the future plans for Penn State Fayette, the Everly campus. And what we're talking about at this point, they have 1 year left of an academic year, 26-27. New students are now not arriving on campus next year. It'll be the students that were there already, finishing either a 2-year degree or finishing their second year and then moving on to another campus at Penn State. But the county almost instantaneously was looking into what can be done with this property and what can be done with a great asset for our county, correct?
That's right. So the problem with the closure after the initial disappointment that they were actually going to close our campus is that it's our only degree granting institution. So we've always had this thought of, well, if a kid doesn't go to Penn State Fayette, our children are leaving, our college-bound children are leaving to go to college elsewhere. And even if it's somewhere close like California or Pitt Greensburg or somewhere like that, you're always disappointed that they're leaving the county. We know that sometimes when the kids leave the county, they don't come back. So when we start talking about population loss, the population loss is twofold right now. It is A, that we die faster than we birth. County commissioners have no control over that. But the second one is, when our kids leave to go to seek higher education, if they leave the county, some of them don't come back. And so that's the second point where we start to hemorrhage population. So it's important to us to have that local institution. The second part of it is from a business development standpoint. We could sit here and say, yeah, we don't have a college, but Westmoreland has one, Washington has one, Allegheny has one, Greene has one. There's a college in West Virginia, and the organizations and companies that we're trying to attract to Fayette County could just say, well, why don't I just go there? Right. So, and actually we had a robotics company interested in Fayette County, and as soon as Penn State announced that they were pulling out, that they were closing, they pulled out. They pulled out the same day. So it's having that place for workforce training is very important to our local economy as well, our local employers. So we initially said, okay, what can we do? How do we see at this campus? And so we've developed a program that is in front of the Penn State Board of Trustees, a plan that would utilize the campus as a educational hub. We wouldn't replace Penn State all in one with one institution. It would be multiple institutions, and we would concentrate on things that are important to Fayette County, the jobs that are important to Fayette County. Obviously, nursing is one of those jobs that is taught out at the Fayette campus that would need to continue. Nursing is one of our largest employers, WVU Medicine. We need to continue to supply them with employees, but then also we want to look forward to what is the next phase of jobs, and that's robotics and advanced manufacturing and the trades, and we want to make sure that that's on the campus as well.
Yeah, and the commissioners created an authority, correct, that could hopefully will take ownership of that campus, and the decision by Penn State has not yet been announced as to what they're going to do with the actual facility. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have formally asked for the property for $1, and that sounds like a pretty bold ask, but our stance is that that property was built on philanthropy. It's named the Everly campus for a reason. The McGurko Auditorium, the Williams Building, the Swimmer Auditorium, for a reason. And then those families and other families have provided money for the grounds and for scholarships at that campus. Also, the Penn State University asks for tax dollars every year to help support Penn State University. And the third is tuition. So it's built on philanthropy, tuition, and tax dollars. And we feel that that's our community asset, and we ask for the property back for $1. They have not made a decision. That's kind of our biggest disappointment in dealing with this is how long it has taken them to make a decision. Obviously, they haven't as of yet. We've been working on this project for nearly, they announced in May of last year that they were closing. We've been working on the solution for a year now with no resolution in sight.
Yeah, academia is well known for being very slow on decisions. I think of my college. I went to Penn State Barron College in Erie, and the chancellor had moved on, and they put, of course, a search committee together. It took almost 2 years to announce that the vice chancellor was taking over as chancellor. And I thought that was a pretty good example of how slow academia works compared to, if a president steps down, they've got a transition plan in place before that ever happens in any company. And that's how these things, that's it.
And I think that's part of our thing is you announced this closure and why, you had no plan for the property after the fact. And, so we kind of feel like Penn State closed 7 campuses. We feel like they're going to make a decision all at once for all 7 campuses, which is kind of unfair to us because we're the campus who's been in front of them with a plan, almost from the beginning.
Right. I remember talking with Bob Eberly shortly after the announcement was made. In fact, before and after, and how disappointed he was. His family's commitment to the region is overwhelming. They don't name a campus after you just because you're nice people. They name it because you've been supportive, and the Eberly family has been remarkably supportive. Talking with County Commissioner Scott Dunn on the latest in Fayette County, and this idea of what could be done on campus, keep it calling perhaps the Eberly campus, and whether, even the idea of maybe the authority renting back buildings to Penn State for their nursing program. I come from a family of nurses, and each of them will say, we need more nurses. And, they're understaffed. And my daughter is a travel nurse. She goes hospital to hospital, and she says, man, it'd be nice if there were more nurses. And that's why it's so important to have projects like that. Let's move on to talk about some other economic development issues in the county, of course. And I always joke about this, but it's deadly serious, is that county commissioners handle more different types of projects and issues related to government. You're both legislative and administrative at the same time. You got a lot on your plate, don't you?
We do, but that's a good thing. There is a lot going on in Fayette County from a business development standpoint. We are still very focused on trying to attract new business to Fayette County. It's very difficult. It's very, it's a kind of like manic depressive because you get your hopes up. Like I always say, if you're lucky in baseball, you get a hit 3 out of 10 times. You got rejected 7 out of 10 times, so you're still a Hall of Famer. The percentage of times that you get rejected in economic development, trying to attract economic development, is overwhelming. And so you go to bat. You just keep going. And next up is let's go find the next one. But it's a lot of work. But I don't want to overlook our existing manufacturers in Fayette County. We have 6 or 7 manufacturers that are expanding right now in Fayette County, and they are good-paying jobs. These aren't the $15 an hour jobs. You're looking at places like Horanic, where if you're a journeyman, you have to work up to becoming a journeyman in the sheet metal union, but I think they're making over $40 an hour. The place down at in Brownsville, Heartland Fabrication, is expanding and looking for additional employees. Boeing just had their ribbon cutting on a new building. They hired 30 new employees. They're going to hire 30 new employees. So there are these little wins that are going on in Fayette County right now, and if you kind of add them up, you're looking at 400, 500, 600 new jobs that are going to be coming in, and we greatly thank the entrepreneurs. I always say politicians don't create jobs, entrepreneurs create jobs, and so there is this investment going on right now in Fayette County that's really working.
Yeah, and those entrepreneurs are risk takers. There's an example, and I think over the years when heavy industry started declining in southwestern Pennsylvania, trades were frowned upon. I think there was too much of a push at times that every kid in high school had to go to college. Talk to anybody who's trying to find a tradesman for their business. It took us almost a year to find somebody who could do plaster work in our home, and that might sound funny to say, but those are basic trades that just sadly aren't there as much as they used to be. They're still around. I'm not saying they're not around, but they're just not around like they once were. And perhaps that's an option for Penn State.
So
we'll call it the Everett campus.
That is it is, and so we have spoken with a lot of the labor unions in Pittsburgh, and they are all the steam fitters, the plumbers and pipe fitters, the carpenters union, the local 66. That all of them are saying, hey, we need people. We need people. As a matter of fact, last weekend, my son and I went to an open house at the Carpenters Union. That my son was 19. If he would get accepted, by the time he's 24 or 25, he could be making $100,000 a year with no college debt. So there is a path forward for people who are motivated. People, people think that a trades job means there's no education. There's still a lot of education. You got to be really good at your trade, and but these unions through their apprenticeship programs provide that for you.
Yeah. And when you think about those trades, I went to college. I wasn't paid when I went to college. If you're in the trades, you're getting paid while you're learning and while you're being trained. That's a big difference and a great benefit for those trades. And we talk. What happened in Fayette County with Penn State Fayette is not unique to our county. I heard the president of Grove City. I'm sorry, not Grove City. St. Vincent's College mentioned over several years America averaged one college or campus closing a week, one per week, because there's such a change now in how higher education is viewed. But then at the same time, we don't want it to happen here, and we need to address that. And if the authority could create, or as a result of the authority getting that campus, fingers crossed, the idea of this being a learning center for multiple colleges. Maybe WVU teaches some classes here. Maybe Cal does. Maybe West. You name it.
Yeah.
Somebody gives you lemons, you try to make lemonade. That's an old corny thing to say, but it works.
We've spoken to over 10, probably as many as 13 institutions right now about coming here. We've spoken to everybody in higher education in the state of Pennsylvania. Penn State is interested in coming back and being on campus under our plan as a tenant, not staying on campus, but as a tenant under our plan. Which makes us feel good about our plan, that it's so good that Penn State's considering staying as a tenant. But, that's the kind of thing that nobody has told us, hey, this is completely off, don't do this can't work. Nobody has told us that. As a matter of fact, it's the complete opposite. Every institution that we speak with is very interested, and if they're not interested, it's because of some legal reason. Hey, I can't because of blank, but they still are interested in the process and seeing how it works out.
Yeah. Yesterday, when we were talking to your fellow Commissioner Vince Facides, and earlier we also talked to Rich Rich Fitzgerald, who, of course, is executive director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, that the Transportation Improvement Plan, that every 4-year plan, which then the TIP merges into the STIP, the State Transportation Improvement Plan. And those discussions are well underway now, and obviously you're working with your fellow commissioners on that project.
Yeah, the TIP, the STIP, it's a whole learning experience about how a project comes together, and it starts with public participation. And I believe Monday the 11th. I believe Monday the 11th is the day for public participation, and that's through the SBC. SBC is the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Pittsburgh and the 10 counties surrounding Pittsburgh. And there's a lot that goes through there. Vince is right now the chairman of SBC, which is hopefully beneficial to Fayette County. The next chairman is going to be Betsy McClure from Greene County. So they rotate, but all the commissioners from southwestern Pennsylvania are on their board of directors, who we meet once a month to talk about all of the transportation programs, and they even get into a little bit of the economic development, and they make sure that we stay in front of our legislators. We will be in Harrisburg, I think June 1st, to have a talk with legislators and meet them and go over the priorities of southwestern Pennsylvania in transportation.
And when you think about transportation projects, and that TIP covers everything from walking paths, the bike paths, the interstate highways, you name it, it all falls under that category.
Right.
And those roads, those highways are jobs, and that's obviously more important than any. And every politician around has always said, my 3 priorities are jobs, jobs, and jobs.
Right.
And when you can bring somebody into a county and show off what you have, I think about how many of the NFL players and maybe some of the draftees and the officials a week or so ago were staying up at Nemacolin Woodlands, who may have never been there before. And of course, that's a huge employer in our region, Nemacolin.
Yep. And still, I know they had some layoffs, but still the largest employer in Fayette County. And I hate the narrative out there that Nemacolin doesn't pay taxes. Nemacolin is actually the largest taxpayer in Fayette County and the largest employer in Fayette County, so they are the largest contributor to local municipal earned income tax. And, so they take a beating and not rightfully so.
Yeah, and if there's a good conspiracy out there, folks like to talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
And but no, the impact that they have, and it's a different type of place. Most folks, think, oh my gosh, who's going there? But it's a big employer here, and it's so important.
Yeah, and I'm with everybody else. I don't get to go there either. I didn't go there before they made their change though either, and that's everybody's like, oh, they don't allow the locals there. When did you go there before?
Right.
And
I don't go to Nemacolin a lot myself.
No, I couldn't afford to go there before either. So I like it made no change in my life with the way that they operate. So, but they contribute money through the local share account, which is the gambling proceeds for Fayette County, which is it's not that much, but it still funds parks and playgrounds, and some nonprofit organizations were able to make sure that they're funded. And then through the hotel tax, they're the largest contributor to the hotel tax, which perpetuates the tourism industry in Fayette County.
Yeah, ask Farmington Volunteer Fire Department if they appreciate.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. A friend of mine owned a small business, and I said, I wonder, they wanted to get one of those defibrillators at their business just in case. And they called Nemacolin, and they said, yeah, we'll give you one. We'll pay for it. So it's sort of fascinating at times when you hear people talk about that. But my gosh, we want a place like that in Fayette County. It's world-renowned. And, if folks came there with their wives and family and their children and whatnot during the draft, maybe they'll come back. When they said, "Man, I could fly into here. I can fly. My private jet can land here." That sort of thing. That's what you want in a county. That's for sure.
So, and if I could just say something about the draft.
Sure.
That I have been following the NFL draft for 40 years, and really wanted to be down in the crowd of 300,000 on that night, and I thought better of it, and then ended up getting invited to a place on Mount Washington that night. I've never seen Pittsburgh look so good.
Right.
I really like it. Just lit up, brightly colored. They had the bridges, the three sister bridges there, going to the North Shore, were all lit up. Whatever team was making a pick, those bridges were lit up in those teams' colors. Yeah. And I was very impressed. I was very impressed with the transportation. We took public transportation into Mount Washington. There was a little glitch on the way out, but overall, to bring 300,000 people into that little small of an area and not have very many hiccups, I thought, congratulations to Pittsburgh on that.
Yeah, 800,000 people. I was down there. I said, I don't know if the Pope's in town or if this is Woodstock again. Yeah, it was amazing, and with very little issues police-wise. It was amazing. And when Pittsburgh looks good, the whole region looks good.
Absolutely.
They're the anchor. No, I thought it did our region very, very well. Commissioner, thanks so much. We enjoy our usually quarterly conversations with you. Maybe we'll up that a little bit, have you on more often. But thanks so much for joining us today. All right.
Yeah, have a great night.
You too. Thanks. Let's take a break, folks. We'll wrap up the first hour in a moment.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
That'll wrap up the afternoon drive show hour one. 3 more hours to go. That's right, leading you up to Pirates baseball just after 9 tonight. This is your local station, WMBS Uniontown at 6 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump is sounding positive about a possible end to the war with Iran. CBS's Linda Kenyon reports.
The president says it's very possible there will be a deal very soon.
We've had very good talks over the last 24 hours.
But any deal, he says, must include this.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. And they've agreed to that.
Earlier on social media, the president posted, if they don't agree, the bombing starts. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been questioned by members of the House Oversight Committee about his relationship with late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California has accused Lutnick of changing his story as new facts have emerged. Republican Committee Chairman James Comer says Secretary Lutnick was very transparent, but
if we find that there were any misstatements by Lutnick, it's a felony to lie to Congress, and he'll be held accountable.
A Dutch cruise ship at the center of a deadly hantavirus outbreak is bound for the Canary Islands. 3 people on board have died, and at least 8 people are possibly infected. CBS's Bradley Blackburn with more.
Cell phone video from inside the MV Hondius shows the moment the cruise ship captain informed guests that a Dutch national had died on board.
It happens at sea sometimes, very sad, very tragic.
The passenger who shot the announcement April 12th says guests were initially told the 70-year-old died of natural causes. The man's 69-year-old wife died about 2 weeks later in South Africa after getting off the ship.
In Colorado, a late-season spring storm has dumped over 2 feet of snow in the Estes Park area, and in Boulder, around 11 inches. Boulder is where John Elliott has spent part of his day removing the heavy snow from his trees to prevent them from breaking.
Now, I'm worried a little bit later and see how much power goes out, how many branches fall onto the power lines or the internet or anything else.
Meantime, millions across the Midwest and South are bracing for some severe weather. There's a threat of bad weather from the Big Bend area of Texas to the mountains of Georgia. The threat of heavy rain has prompted flood watches across multiple states through tomorrow. Starting next year, Georgia high school students will no longer be able to use their cell phones in schools. CBS's Christopher Cruz reports.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed a bill into law that bars high school students from accessing any personal electronic devices from the start of the school day until dismissal. The law applies to cell phones, tablets, smartwatches, and headphones. The bill Kemp signed passed both chambers of the state legislature with overwhelming support earlier this year.
Joel Embiid is ruled out with ankle and hip injuries for the 76ers in Game 2 of their playoff series against the Knicks. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60 Minutes.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States, located right here in Fayette County, is hiring. Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's included on the UNESCO World Heritage List, has a variety of opportunities for new team members, including openings in the Education Department, the Falling Water Cafe, the Membership Department, the Maintenance Department, the Museum Store, Security, and the Visitor Services Department. The team at Falling Water is growing, and now is your chance to be a part of history as a valued member of the team, sharing this remarkable creation with tens of thousands of visitors every year. With a mix of full-time and part-time positions and offering flexible scheduling, competitive compensation, and unique perk benefits, now is the time to visit www.fallingwater.org/careers. Check out these opportunities today and come be a part of history at Falling Water.
New research showing that whether most of your social media friends are actual buddies or strangers does not affect your level of loneliness.
A study of 1,500 between the ages of 30 to 70 finds that connecting online with people you've never met doesn't affect your level of loneliness. But Brian Primack at Oregon State University says,
the gold standard of human relationship is in-person relationship.
He says the study raises concerns about having too many interactions with people who are strangers, and though it isn't bad to be friends with people who are close personal friends,
it maybe isn't the panacea we were looking for.
Past research shows that people who feel lonely are more than twice as likely to develop depression. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Business ramped up. They are hiring in April. Payroll processor ADP reported a gain of 109,000 private sector jobs last month, up from a gain of 61,000 in March. The government's April jobs report comes out on Friday. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The local district and statewide news is being brought to you by Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, striving harder to get you farther. For more information, call 724-628-RIDE. And now to the news.
Good evening on this Wednesday, 6:05 and 53 degrees under cloudy skies. And I am Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis studios in Uniontown. Davis & Davis attorneys at law voted Fayette County's best law firm 2025. Your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS. The Weather Watch and Sports on the way in a bit. There is concern among parents and students in the Connellsville Area School District. It surfaced this week about plans to reduce faculty for the high school music program next year. The band director said that he will spend only half a day in the music program, while another teacher who spent half a day in the program will be eliminated. Connellsville Superintendent Richard Evans says the band teacher must split time between the high school and middle school because that is dictated by class size and student needs, but he says the music program will remain in place as it is. Additional elective music courses at Connellsville will continue to be offered when student enrollment supports them. The Layton Bridge over the Youghiogheny River in Perry Township, Fayette County, will experience daily closures for routine inspections starting this Monday through the 15th. That's May 11th through the 15th, all of next week. PennDOT is going to close the 127-year-old single-lane span and its adjacent tunnel from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. each day, with detours posted for drivers. These inspections come as the historic structure is slated for replacement by a new bridge, right now scheduled for completion by the end of 2029. 3 UPMC hospitals in southwest Pennsylvania are at severe risk for closure as cuts to Medicaid go into effect, according to a new report from consumer watchdog Public Citizen. UPMC Green, Mercy, and McKeesport were among the over 440 U.S. hospitals identified this week as vulnerable because of recent financial losses and their reliance on Medicaid, CHIP, and other low-income government programs. Highlands Hospital out of Connellsville here in Fayette County also made the list. In July, Congress passed and President Trump signed a spending bill that will slash federal contributions to Medicaid and CHIP by more than $900 billion over a decade. Statewide, Governor Shapiro's reelection campaign raised over $3.5 million between March 31st and May 5th, boosting the campaign's cash on hand to $37 million. State Treasurer Stacey Garrity, the governor's likely Republican opponent in the election in November, has not yet released her campaign's fundraising numbers from the same time frame, but Shapiro's campaign outraised hers 10-1 over the first 3 months of this year, bringing in more than $10 million. The governor has no opponents in the May 19th election as a Democrat, and Garrity is also running unopposed in the primary for the GOP nomination. Pennsylvania-based Utsa Quality Foods has voluntarily recalled some of its potato chips because they have the potential to be contaminated with salmonella. The company recalled some Zaps and dirty potato chips because they were notified that a seasoning containing dry milk powder sourced from California state dairies and supplied by a third party to Pennsylvania may have salmonella in them. No illnesses have been reported. The chips were sold nationwide, and a full list of batch codes and expiration dates is available on the FDA's website, fda.gov. People who bought the chips should throw them away and not eat them. For more information or a refund, phone 877, that's 1-877-423-0149, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 6 in the evening. And Sunday is Mother's Day, and Pennsylvania residents may spend a record amount on the special women in their life. The National Retail Federation says consumers are expected to spend a record $38 billion this year, which breaks down to about $284 a person. Flowers remain the most popular gift, followed by food, wine or beverages, jewelry, special outings, and experiences like spa days or concert tickets. And Spirit Airlines is starting its bankruptcy process after being in court. Officials with Spirit were in court this week.
It could take months to dismantle the airline that had suddenly canceled flights for thousands of customers over the weekend, ceasing operations after more than 3 decades in business. The court hearing included talks about airport landing fees, aircraft, and staffing, with the company saying heavy debt and surging expenses led to its shutdown. Presiding Judge Sean Lane called Spirit Airlines' shutdown sad and unfortunate, with thousands of people directly and indirectly losing their jobs. In New York, I'm Natalie Migliori.
More next on WMBS.
Take the fact. Need to get to work? Run errands? See a doctor? Fact connects Fayette County. Ride our convenient routes through Uniontown, Connellsville, Brownsville, even to Pittsburgh. Seniors 65 and older ride free on fixed routes. People with disabilities get big savings, and Medicaid recipients can ride to medical appointments at no cost through our shared ride and paratransit services. Find out if you qualify today. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. Fact, your ride, your independence.
In sports, we have Bucco baseball tonight. Pirates look to bounce back in Arizona, taking on the Diamondbacks in the second game of a 3-game series this evening. They lost last night to the Pirates 9-0, had their 3-game winning streak snap, but Paul Skeen's on the mound tonight, one of the best, if not the best, pitchers in baseball on the mound for your Bucks tonight at 9:15 on WMBS. We'll have the game tomorrow afternoon as well at 3:15. High school baseball, we will have a Geibel game for you Friday afternoon as the regular season will wrap up then. Some makeup games this week, but Laurel Highlands, their season did come to an end yesterday as we brought you the Mustangs win over Ringgold 10-0. And here's Doug Saltzman.
You know, yesterday when I was doing the show, Bill was in studio here. I mentioned, now it wasn't the last game of the year. There's some rainouts to make up. But I thought it was cool on what was scheduled as the last game, if that makes sense.
Well, it is for Laurel Highlands.
Laurel Highlands.
Yeah,
A senior was the winning pitcher, and
Right.
his name.
His name is Jack Johns. He was a lefty.
And
he is a lefty.
they won 10-0, so the game was over in 6 innings. And the game-winning hit was by another senior.
Yeah, Noah Lyons.
There we go.
Doing
So I did
very
not have those names to mention yesterday. I want to give a shout out to those two guys. Nice way to end your senior year of baseball.
Thank you, Doug. Your senior year, did you get the walk-off hit? Were you the game-winning pitcher?
I once watched a cold third strike and the game was over.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Well, that's memorable.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Hey, your career was ended at that point. Anyway, and yes, we'll get to the weather watch now. Why not? Right now, it is 53 degrees and a cloudy skies outside of our Davis & Davis studios. Low tonight, 43, up to 62 for tomorrow. Overnight low at 41. On to Friday, sunny and 65 the high. Low at 53. Then rain likely throughout the day Saturday, going up to 66, overnight low 54. For Mother's Day Sunday, do have a chance of afternoon showers and 68, maybe a storm in the evening as the low drops down to 50, 62 Monday and sunny Tuesday at 63, but still not warming up into the 70s yet, at least through the middle of next week. Right now, 6:11 and 53 degrees on a Wednesday, and good evening from the Davis & Davis studios in Uniontown at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk. Pirates baseball tonight at 9:15. But until then, it's more of the Afternoon Drive Show with Doug Saltzman. Second hour next on WMBS.
Take the fact, Fayette County's got it. Convenient and comfortable. Take the fact, anywhere in Fayette County, we'll get you there. Take the fact, safe and reliable. Take the fact, fast and fun. Ride the fact, come ride the fact today.
With all this snow, I don't know how I'll get to the doctor's office and get my shopping done. At my age, I can't drive in this weather.
Don't fret. Let FACT do the work.
Fact?
Yes, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation. They have multiple programs to get you where you need to go. All FACT buses are safe, reliable, handicap accessible, and have free Wi-Fi.
Well, that sounds great.
Just make a reservation the day before your trip by 2 p.m. Call the FACT office at 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com.
Thanks. I'll call Fact right now.
Ride the fact, come ride the fact today.
For 35 years, Fay Penn Economic Development Council has been committed to its mission of growing Fayette County's economy and helping to bring jobs to the area. Whether you're a startup, existing, or new business in Fayette County, Fay Penn's lending team can work with you to decide if the Fay Penn Loan Fund suits your business's needs. Fay Penn's Loan Fund offers loans starting at $10,000, pending qualifications. Visit faypenn.org to learn more about financing opportunities for your business and to complete a pre-application form.
When you need notary services, trust the best. Sandy Howell Notary Services, back-to-back gold medal winner for Best Notary in Fayette County. They're here for you with extended hours to fit your schedule. Sandy Howell's also the 2025 gold medal winner for Best Title Company. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 8:30, and Saturdays, 9 to 5. Call 724-564-8955 today for Sandy Howell Notary Services, where excellence is signed and sealed.
Yeah, they're the people I trust. It's the place I go. Home Warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
March brings spring and home improvement season. Planning a home improvement project with your tax refund? Home Warehouse, a Best in Fayette winner for home improvements and windows, is the place to go for all your home exterior needs. Warm weather means more outdoor living. Add value to your home with a new deck. Home Warehouse has a great selection of easy-to-maintain composite decking and vinyl railing, plus siding, shutters, windows and doors, roofing shingles, metal and rubber roofing, soffit and fascia, as well as flooring. So for selection, great prices, and hometown service, see Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse, Connellsville Street in Uniontown. They know how to make your house a happy home. Shop Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, Saturday, 8 to noon.
Home Warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility, combined with our personalized approach, is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
If you're a small business owner in Fayette County, think about everything you need to help your business succeed. You need a plan, happy customers, steady cash flow, and an insurance agent that gets you. State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson runs a small business in Uniontown, too. He understands the unique needs of local business owners. He'll make it easy to choose the right protection at the right price, because the one thing you don't need is insurance stress. Call State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson for your small business needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Later in the show, we're going to check in with Dr. Robert Thompson from Syracuse University. Of course, he is director of the Blyer Center at Syracuse. We're going to talk about the career, the impact of Ted Turner. And many, many years ago, I was at a Pirate playoff game. So how long ago was that? This was the early 90s. And every time they showed Ted Turner and his wife at the time, do you remember who his wife was back in those days?
Oh, I do, Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda. They were sitting in the first row behind the visitors' dugout, and right next to them was me.
Wow.
And a former Speaker of the House, Bill DeWeese, at our dates.
You were an invited guest of Mr. Turner and Miss Fonda?
Not quite. We just happened to have the seats right next to them.
Wow.
I was a lobbyist for the Pittsburgh Chamber, and every time they showed them on TV, so I got calls. This is long before cell phones and texting and emails. I did get emails. I shouldn't say email was around then. Saying, Doug, were you at the game with Jane Fonda and Ted Turner? But it was sort of funny. Ted Turner passed away. His impact on media is unprecedented.
Founded CNN,
Yeah.
just there, and all the other networks with his name on it.
Right. He wanted to start this national TBS, and at the time, Jim Roddy, who later became county executive in Allegheny County, was working for him. And he said, Ted, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. That's what he told Turner at the time. And he used to tell that story that Jim Roddy did.
Well, this was in an era when news was on a half hour a day. Now it's
Exactly.
literally on 24 hours a day.
Right.
Even
local news is on 8 hours a day,
Yeah,
for
that's
heaven's sake.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a little bit much, that's for sure. On another topic entirely, joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line from the Commonwealth Foundation, Vice President of Policy, Elizabeth Stowe. Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
That's great. Wanted to talk to you about, there was a rally yesterday in Harrisburg on school choice, and I've been part of those rallies over the years, either as a staffer or as a participant. This idea of school choice and the importance of it and so many people's opinions. So before we talk about that rally and the efforts going on, people have heard of school choice. It's a common thing people hear about. They may not know the intricacies of it. So give us an idea of what exactly school choice is and what it brings to education.
Sure. So in Pennsylvania, we have a couple different kinds of choice. And really all it means is that you as a parent get more of a say in the type of education that your child receives. So you can go to a public school in Pennsylvania. You can also go to a charter school, which is a public school that has fewer regulations and mandates. It might be a specialized school. You can go to a private school. You can use Pennsylvania tax credit scholarship programs to get a scholarship to go to a private school. And then, of course, you can homeschool. So there are lots of different options in Pennsylvania. And when we talk about education choice, what we're talking about is sending more of the funding to follow the kid to whatever type of school is best going to serve their needs.
Yeah. I was lucky enough that I had the means, my wife and I, to send our 4 daughters to private school. Would we have liked the school choice option to kick in there? That certainly would have been nice. But a lot of people, unfortunately, are simply stuck in schools they may not like for something as simple as their zip code, correct?
Yeah, so the quality of your school, the opportunities that are available to you really depend on your zip code because we assign public school by zip code. And, you know, that's really not the way that we do anything else these days. And in today's economy, with all sorts of innovations we have in education, it really doesn't make sense anymore. So what we proposed is, you know, give parents more tools to let the funding follow the kid to the school of their choice. We have advocated a couple of different things. Lifeline scholarships is probably the most well-known, and that would give kids that are assigned to the lowest achieving schools in Pennsylvania the opportunity to take a scholarship to a school of their choice. But the other really exciting thing that's happened recently is that there's now a national school choice program So starting next year, if Governor Shapiro opts Pennsylvania in, folks can take a tax credit on the federal taxes, and that can go to scholarships so that many more kids, tens of thousands of more kids can access private education through scholarships.
And again, where it's national, we're looking at it in Pennsylvania. It does exist in other states, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Our neighbor to the west, Ohio, has universal school choice. And what that means is any child, it doesn't matter what school you're assigned to, it doesn't matter your income, doesn't matter your zip code, any child can qualify for a scholarship to go to the school of their choice. And what that basically means is that the state funding will follow the child. In Pennsylvania, we fund our schools through local revenue, more local revenue, state revenue, and then there's a little bit of federal. But what other states have done, like Ohio, is they've said, okay, we're going to let that state portion follow the kid to whatever school best meets their needs, because the whole point of education is to educate the kid. It's not to employ adults. It's not to create a jobs program in a community. It's to make sure that each child gets a high-quality education.
Right. So what have the results shown in other states, like Ohio? Let's just compare Ohio, for heaven's sakes. It's not far from our station here. What changes have occurred? Have there been improvements in test scores, et cetera? What information? You may not have all that information or any of it, but what have you learned through your research there at the Commonwealth Foundation?
Well, we've looked at test experiments, gold standard experiments they call them, done in other states of their various types of scholarship programs. And what we find is that if you take the same kids in the same city, there's been several of these in Cleveland and Washington, in Wisconsin as well. There's been a lot of these in Milwaukee. And if you take the same kids and you give them a choice, stay in the public school or go to a private school, and then you track their test scores over time, the kids in the private school do better. But the other really interesting thing is that over time, the public school gets better too. And why is that? Competition, right? Parents all of a sudden have a choice. And so the schools are now competing for the students. And so instead of a race to the bottom, it's a race to the top. So we like to talk about school choice benefiting not just, private schools, but public schools just as much.
Right. The cost of education, some people are shocked when they hear this. And your information from the Commonwealth Foundation shows that Pennsylvania public schools spend $23,000 per student, among the highest in the country. And sadly, more than half the kids are reading below grade level, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
And when you say that, it sounds horrible. There are great schools in Pennsylvania. I never like to just give a stat like that without mentioning there are a lot of great schools, and students are doing very well in many of them. But unfortunately, when you talk about that level of money, and I went to Catholic schools my whole life for 12 years, and my daughters went to Catholic school till 8th grade, then went to a public high school. And I was always amazed, especially when I was young, and my mom was the secretary at our school, and there was a principal, maybe a vice principal occasionally, and my mother. And she literally did all the bookkeeping, That was the entire administration of a school with, at that point, about 600 kids. And very different than when you see about the amounts of money being spent on students, $23,000 per year per student. That's astronomical. I don't think that's an exaggeration, is it?
No, not at all. And well, I will say that data is a couple years old. The Department of Education in Pennsylvania should be releasing the new data any day now, so we'll have an updated number soon. But yeah, as of 2 years ago, that was the price or the amount spent per pupil. To compare that to private education, tuition on average in Pennsylvania is around $12,000. That's looking at both elementary school and high school. So when you compare those two things, it really stands out. And if you ask the average Pennsylvanian on the street, we've done some polling, how much do you think we spend per student in Pennsylvania? They usually start somewhere around $6,000, $7,000. And when you tell them it's 23, they can't believe it, because they all think that we underfund education. And what we found in our research at Commonwealth Foundation is not that we have a funding problem, it's that we have an accountability problem. And when we have schools that year after year are not performing, kids can't read at grade level, kids can't do math at grade level, what do? We give them more money. Yeah. So what is the incentive? Well, the incentive is not to get better test scores, just to kind of just keep doing what you're doing. And so what we're focused on at Commonwealth Foundation is giving those families that want something different the means and ability to do so, because the quality of education should not depend on where you live. And that's why we're so excited about the Federal Tax Credit Scholarship Program, because it can really supercharge a lot of the scholarships that are available at schools in Pennsylvania and really even the playing field. And all the governor has to do is say, yes, Pennsylvania will opt in. And that, that tax credit money, it's not coming from the state budget, it's tax credit money coming from federal taxpayers, will flow into Pennsylvania. And that would just be a game changer.
Yeah, has the governor indicated when he might come up with a decision, whether or not, when you say that he will opt in, so he can make that decision arbitrarily? Is that the word I'm looking for there? On his own? Arbitrarily was the wrong word, but it's up to him, not the legislature, for instance, or
that's a good question. Yeah, so the way that they wrote the law, and this was part of the big beautiful bill that passed in July, the way they wrote the law, the governor has to approve a list of scholarship organizations that can hand out these scholarships. And so there are two ways this could happen. In every state so far, we're up to 29 states that have opted in. It's been the governor saying, here's the list, I approve, we're opting in. In theory, the legislature could pass a law that says the governor must opt us in. That could happen. But the governor so far is giving basically a no answer. He's making excuses, saying I have to wait till I see all the regulations. I'm not sure. I don't want it to harm our other school choice programs. And to be honest with you, that's just a stalling tactic. There is no way that this program would in any way impact the funding of our public schools. It would enhance, not threaten, the current school choice programs that we have. So we're really just calling on him to be honest, to opt in, to stop playing games, because the sooner that he does opt in, the sooner our scholarship organizations in Pennsylvania can get ready to take advantage of this, and they can start telling all the taxpayers in Pennsylvania that, hey, you have the ability to send $1,700, not to the swamp in D.C., but to schools in your own local community.
I guess I'm thinking of like an executive order almost, is that he would kick this in and make this happen, considering it doesn't cost Pennsylvania anything. We'll see if he makes that decision maybe the week after the November election. I don't know. We'll see if that happens. Or I'm just being, I'm just taking a wild guess at that one as we talk with Elizabeth Stell from the Commonwealth Foundation. When you talk about those programs and what's available, over 100,000 students, as you mentioned, being served by the tax credit scholarship program. Nearly 70,000 are on wait lists for that program due to program caps. Would this legislation change those caps, or would that have to be done at the federal program, at the federal level, rather?
Yeah, so the federal program will be an add-on. So you could get a scholarship from the federal tax credit on top of the current tax credit scholarships that we have through. They're two acronyms, EITC and OSTC, but they're basically two different types of scholarship tax credits. So what we always advocate for is expanding that cap, raising that cap in the number of tax credits that can be given, because we have that waiting list. We have applicants every year that are turned away. The demand is greater than the supply, and that would be a state law. And lawmakers have done this. In four of the last 5 years, lawmakers have increased the caps on some or all parts of that program. And that's a wonderful thing. We're able, like you said, to serve over 100,000 now students. We've served millions since the inception of the EITC. It's the 25th anniversary of the EITC this year. And now at the point where almost 5% of kids in Pennsylvania are being educated through one of these scholarships. And it's not a lot of money. I mean, it's somewhere in the ballpark of $2,300 a scholarship, and that's it. That's enough to help a family afford a private, high-quality education.
Yeah. Take a moment, as we always ask you and your colleagues to do, to tell folks what the Commonwealth Foundation is and how they can get involved, maybe contribute or follow on what you're doing.
Yeah, well, we are Pennsylvania's free market think tank. We take free market ideas and we turn them into public policies or laws that will help all Pennsylvanians flourish. And if people want to read a little bit more about our research and what we're up to, they can go to commonwealthfoundation.org. They can find us on Facebook. They can find us on X at My Commonwealth. and you can learn more about how to donate, how to reach out to your lawmaker, and advocate for the policies that are going to make Pennsylvania a freer and more prosperous place.
Elizabeth, thanks so much. We always appreciate your joining us and your colleagues as well at the Commonwealth Foundation. Greater information as always. Have a good evening.
My
Thanks.
pleasure.
All righty. Take care. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to check in with Rob Owen, TV writer for the Tribune Review. When I set up this interview with him, we planned to talk about the latest on TV and, of course, late-night TV changes. And since that interview was set up just a couple days ago, Ted Turner, the word came out that he had passed away, changed TV forever. Stick around for that. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
It's spring, and everything is growing, and Madewell Services is here to help. They offer full lawn care service, including spring cleanups, mulching, landscaping and planting, weekly grass cutting, power washing, and more. Madewell Services also provides professional cleaning services for your home or office, moving in or out service, party cleanups, weekly cleanings, and junk removal. Licensed and insured for peace of mind. Call Madewell Services today at 724-912-1805. That's 724-912-1805 for a free estimate.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States, located right here in Fayette County, is hiring. Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's included on the UNESCO World Heritage List, has a variety of opportunities for new team members, including openings in the Education Department, the Falling Water Cafe, the Membership Department, the Maintenance Department, the Museum Store, Security, and the Visitor Services Department. The team at Falling Water is growing, and now is your chance to be a part of history as a valued member of the team, sharing this remarkable creation with tens of thousands of visitors every year. With a mix of full-time and part-time positions and offering flexible scheduling, competitive compensation, and unique perk benefits, now is the time to visit www.fallingwater.org/careers. Check out these opportunities today and come be a part of history at Falling Water.
Bright Stripe, Fayette County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Are delinquent credit cards, medical bills, and personal loans stressing you out? Are you unable to catch up? Are the debt collection calls just too much? If yes, then call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200. Zebley Law provides free in-person consultations. Then, using our decades of experience, we recommend a plan for relief. Before hiring a debt relief company or an out-of-town bankruptcy firm, call the local law firm serving Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties since 2001. Call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
It's gorgeous outside, which means it's time to get to Bittersweet Cafe of Farmington. From their incredible daily lunch specials featuring farm-to-table fresh ingredients to their refreshing drinks, frozen treats, smoothies, and iced tea, Bittersweet Cafe has something for everyone. Enjoy this beautiful spot nestled in the Laurel Highland Mountains, just a few miles outside of Ohiopyle on Farmington, Ohiopyle Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
That's a little-known garage band bringing us out of the break, Led Zeppelin. The kids across the street, he had a classic garage band. They did okay for a while, except for the fact that they were literally practiced in their garage, which was like a megaphone pointing right at our house.
Oh.
And it was louder in our living room than it was in his living room for his parents. I was doing a job interview one time with the windows open, and it came on so loud I had to run downstairs and hide in the laundry room to do my job interview. I didn't get the job.
No.
I remember the guy saying, "Man, you play music loud there." I'm like, "Well, actually, it's the neighbor kid." But didn't get the job nonetheless. But Led Zeppelin bringing us out of the break. I want to thank Elizabeth Stell for joining us a few moments ago. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line from the Tribune Review and TribLive.com, TV writer and critic, Rob Owen. Rob, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We always like to check in with you on the latest on TV. And since you and I scheduled this interview, came the news of the death of Ted Turner. So we'll talk about that in a few moments. But let's talk about the latest on television. And what seems to be getting more attention than anything is a show going off the air, and of course, and that's the Late Show on CBS with Colbert. Thank you, Nick. Nick can read my mind when I can't think of a name.
He was about to say, I think, Steve Allen.
Yeah,
so I
Steve
jumped in. Johnny Carson, Steve Allen, Jack.
This isn't bad for a guy across the aisle here who's, 30 years old?
I'm 30,
You
yes.
can crank out those names very easily.
I have no friends.
But it's getting amazing amount of attention for a show that's been canceled. And it's not as if he's just simply being forced into retirement. They're eliminating the show, aren't they?
I mean, for now, yes. I mean, they are eliminating a show called The Late Show, but they've already started hedging that they may not be done with that time slot entirely, and that after their contract for the Byron Allen show is up, they might pursue something else. That was fairly recent that they kind of made that suggestion, which I think is interesting and also curious, because if they couldn't make money with Colbert, who's to say they're going to make money with a successor program?
And it's only a matter of time until Jay Leno comes back on TV somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, God, not again.
Tom Snyder.
No, I don't think Tom
I think
Snyder.
He passed. I'm sorry.
But
I wasn't trying to make
But
a
that
joke.
would be a show if you could have Tom Snyder
I wasn't
back.
trying to make a joke.
But Jay Leno would come on to do it for 3 months and get a kick out of it. He seems to be the most low-key guy.
He does.
I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Okay, you want me to leave for a while? I'll leave. Want me to come back? At one point, they had him almost considered having him doing a half-hour show. It's been always sort of fascinating. He just seems to have a good time in life, does Jay Leno. But yeah, when you think about the impact of those late shows, and I love watching the old Johnny Carson shows. I have an over-the-air antenna, and I watch these shows from years ago. And recently, I saw a stat. I tried to get a second source on it, but I couldn't quite find it. That one of those repeats from a show that had to be from 1992 or earlier had 1.1 listeners one night, when Colbert had less than 2 million listeners the same night. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what a fairly, I thought, reliable source said. But this idea of the impact of late-night TV over the years, when Carson was pulling 40 million people when there wasn't a lot of competition, I think it's a shame to see the late-night shows go. They've been such a staple.
I mean, I think it is, too, because it is such a popular genre in a traditional genre in the medium, let's say. But we also have to remember that before, it wasn't that long that the Late Show existed in the grand scheme of things. I mean, the Tonight Show has been around much, much longer. The Late Show only came about when Letterman left NBC and went to CBS. Yes, that was several decades ago, but it isn't like the Late Show has been going since the 50s.
Right.
But at the same time, I agree with you that I hate to see a genre seemingly in its death throes, which I think, we can argue that is what's happening with late night right now, because nobody's watching the shows. They're watching the clips from the shows the next day on YouTube.
Well, Rob, what do you make if we're talking late night? We have to talk about, I don't know if feud is the right word, but this whatever between the administration, the White House, and Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, what is your opinion on that, and what's your opinion in general of criticism of this administration on TV going forward?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that it was, much ado about nothing when it came to the most recent Kimmel joke. I mean, he made the joke days before the assassination attempt. The joke was not about about any assassination attempt. The joke was about the age difference between Trump and his wife, and also the fact that she kind of never smiles around him, and it isn't entirely clear that she likes him. That was the joke. So the fact that they took it and after the assassination attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner attempted to make something of it is completely disingenuous.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's obviously liberal late night talk shows now and conservative talk shows. Personally, if I'm up that late, that's the last thing I want to see is an interview with, I don't know, the Secretary of Transportation or the Secretary of the Interior. I got a kick out of me. I'm old school. I got a kick out of Carson bringing somebody on who
the potato chip lady.
The potato chip lady, for instance,
You like that.
or some guy who had a chicken that could dance, and I guess
you don't like intellectualism in late night. Is what you're getting at.
I guess I just that's why, and people thought they were almost like part of a private club to watch Johnny Carson, and I guess
even though everyone was doing it.
yeah, it's I just don't. I guess I don't understand suddenly why they've all become so political, both sides of the aisle. It just seems like that time of night you want to relax some, and I'm just puzzled by it, I guess.
Well, and I think it depends which show we're talking about. I mean, I think Colbert and Kimmel obviously have gone in a direction that you can clearly say is making more jokes at the expense of Republicans. Not that they don't make any jokes at the expense of Democrats, because they do, but they're clearly more aiming at Republicans in the Trump era. Jimmy Fallon, I think, has more tried to sort of not do the political thing. I think he's tried to avoid it more than the others. And then, obviously, on the other side, the Gutfeld show on Fox is obviously, a conservative late-night show that is more likely to skewer liberals. So why have they all gone that way? I don't know exactly, except that I have to think that it's partly the prerogative of the hosts and partly the times. We live in a more partisan time, so it sort of makes sense that maybe that would be something that would come through in a late night show.
Yeah, when you take a look at what the numbers were at one time, and of course, you had in the Pittsburgh region 2, 4, 11. Sometimes you had 22, you had 13, maybe 16, Channel 53. There wasn't a lot of competition. I always tell stories when I get out the Christmas decorations every year. I show the kids because I liked wrapping stuff in old newspapers. I'm like, here was the TV section from 1974. And these were your choices on Tuesday night, that sort of thing. It's such a totally different world that we're living in now in terms of TV and what's going to happen at late night. When you think about Stephen Colbert's show losing $40 million a year, were you surprised that they let him go on so much longer as opposed to just saying, okay, you got a week left, considering the amount of money the network was losing? At the same time, on May 22nd, they're shutting down CBS News Radio. That $40 million could have gone very well for CBS News Radio, and we're an affiliate of CBS. So, were you surprised they let him go so long after the announcement?
A little bit, but I think they were sort of. I think I don't know. I imagine it's because they had commitments and they needed to make. It was either kill it then and there last summer, or do deals with Colbert and his staff for one last season. And I think the thinking was, okay, if we announce a last season, we are going to goose interest in the show and ratings are going to go up, and maybe we will make more money than we have been making. Now, I don't doubt that they are probably losing money on that show, but I also think that, they didn't go to Colbert and say, hey, do you think we could find a way to keep the show going on a lower budget? So that seemingly did not happen, which you would think that would be step one if you actually wanted to keep the show. But they didn't do that, perhaps because they didn't want to keep the show.
Yeah. And as you can imagine, as a CBS affiliate here, we've been talking for a while about that news that broke, that shocked a lot of people, that CBS News Radio was shutting down, the network of Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite. Now, you're not a radio writer, you're a TV writer, but an impact of something like that, two people who later were on TV, Walter Cronkite, legendary anchor of the CBS Evening News, started, of course, with UPI and then CBS News Radio. It's amazing to see a network like that being shut down, boom, gone, without at least trying to cut back, expenses and maybe make it. It wasn't losing money, apparently. I guess for CBS, wasn't making enough.
Yeah, and I don't know that much about that, but I was also surprised by that choice. I assume there are plenty of other folks who are happy to step in and take over that role for the stations that are losing the CBS radio network.
Yeah, there aren't as many of those national ones that have 24, news at the top of every hour, bottom of every hour, 24/7, as one might think. But yeah, we were joking about. Imagine how many emails are going around the country. 700 affiliates suddenly realizing they need to find somebody to affiliate with.
Right.
I'm sure it's been quite the project. Let's talk about the other topic that just came up in the news, the death of Ted Turner. I told the story earlier, and Jim Roddy, the former county executive in Allegheny County and business leader, worked for Ted Turner back in the day. And he was in a meeting one day when Ted Turner said, I have an idea for a national television station called TBS. And Jim chimed in and said, Ted, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. It's never going to work. And he jokes about how he told Ted Turner that TBS would not work. But is there anybody in the history of television who had more of an impact than Ted Turner? I mean, are we talking about Paley and names like that? But when you think of what he did, it just seems amazing.
Well, I think that there are other folks who had similar impacts, but I think what sort of makes Turner stand apart is that he was a television executive whose name you came to know and who was not afraid to speak his mind. He always gave good sound bites. My coverage of TV is a little bit after his heyday, because remember, he was big mostly in the 80s and the early 90s. He sold Turner Broadcasting to Time Warner in 96, which was the year I started covering television. Not in Pittsburgh, that was 98. But I never saw him at press tour, but I certainly heard stories of when he used to appear at the Television Critics press tour. And I think he was a big personality, and I think that distinguishes him as much as the fact that he created this cable empire with TBS and TNT and obviously, of course, CNN and then CNN Headline News. He created quite a little fiefdom that he was able to rule over for a long period of time before he sold it off.
It's and the fact that you would see him sitting at Atlanta Braves games, and it wasn't called the Paley Broadcasting System. It was but it was called the Turner Broadcasting System.
Yeah,
TBS.
The world. I mean, CNN changed the world.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, I remember.
He was not shy about putting his name on his network.
I remember at one point during the first Gulf War, they were interviewing the Secretary of Defense, and they said, "How are things going?" And this, he said, "Well, according to CNN, it's going pretty good." It literally, it was almost the first war covered live.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't covered immediate, but it was covered literally within minutes of what was happening.
Yeah.
And you have a secretary of, in fact, I'm trying to think who the Secretary of Defense was at the time.
Rumsfeld.
Well, according, no, that was the second. According to CNN, it's going pretty well. When you think about, said Ted Turner was probably losing it when he heard that, losing it in a happy way. When you think about something like that. But yeah, just the impact they have. And of course, then you get married to Jane Fonda, so all in all, it's an attention grabber. Go ahead, jump in. I cut you off for a moment.
Oh, I was just going to say, obviously, the CNN of it all is huge. If you're looking, I was talking before about the business piece, but if you're looking at the news angle of it, there wasn't really, NBC News had their bureaus wherever, CBS had their bureaus wherever, but really it took CNN to come along and kind of establish a new type of cable channel that was devoted entirely to news 24/7. And if not for CNN, you wouldn't have MSNBC, you wouldn't have Fox News. Those were the imitators. They were the ones that came along later.
Yeah. And you had something you never had before, a 24/7 national news source that gave you news every half hour. And they used to show that clock. Okay, here's the headlines, and then sports, and then national weather, and it would show, and it would just repeat itself And it had phenomenal ratings, didn't it? Headline news. I think there's still headline news out there, but I don't know what they're airing these days. I'm not a cable guy. But
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. I think they got rid of headline news as I think they were airing things that weren't the headlines, but I'm not entirely sure either because I haven't watched it in years.
But I remember watching that, and my dad would sit there and watch the same things 12 times in a row, and said, "Dad, hit the garden." And then I think he finally did. Like, I've seen this enough. I've seen the same news time and time again. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, before we leave, any recommendations for us, Rob? As a man who watches TV for a living, what should we be watching?
Oh goodness, let me think here. I'm a little bit behind on things. I did this week watch an upcoming HBO Max movie with Allison Janney and Andrew Rannells. I think it's called Love You, Miss You, because there's a press conference for it tomorrow. I thought that was a pretty good, it almost played like a stage play, kind of a two-hander between Rannells and Janney. And I thought that was really good and sort of intimate and small and not the kind of thing people are making anymore. So I really enjoyed it. It was very much a character thing and a relationship story. That comes on in late May. So I recommend that one when it comes on HBO Max.
And we always thank you for watching TV. That way we don't have to. But I watch a lot of the old shows. You know, I could tell you everything about Barney Miller. I always joke about how much I like watching the old Barney Miller shows. But my brother and sister-in-law got me onto a show. We're all bowlers. We've been bowling in the league for decades. A show on HBO documentary produced by Ben Stiller, of all people, called Born to Bowl. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Wow.
I haven't.
It's professional bowlers literally poking fun at themselves and realizing this is the life bowlers live, and we're not exactly.
That's a TV show.
It's a TV show, Born to Bowl, and it talks about the top bowlers and the life they live, and how they share hotel rooms on the road because bowlers don't make a lot of money, even the best ones.
Right.
But it's funny how TV these days that would never have existed otherwise back in back in the day. Although there was a time when bowling, professional bowler store had incredible ratings in the 80s. It's sort of funny when you think about stuff like that. So make sure you check out Born to Bowl. I don't think I've ever suggested something for you, if nothing else, except for the giggle value of it. And of all people to produce it, Ben Stiller.
Was his dad Jerry a big bowler? I mean,
I don't know.
Good Lord.
Directed by.
I will add it to my ever-extensive, ever-growing list.
Yeah. Last question I want to ask you real quick. We talked about pre-pandemic. There were 600 different TV shows, you said at one point. And, of course, that dropped significantly. Where are we now in just a ballpark figure? How many different television shows are airing, are streaming, or whatever?
You know, FX used to produce that annual report that sort of gave us the number, and they have not been doing it in recent years. So I don't know exactly. I have not seen numbers recently. I would guess, though, that it's probably in the neighborhood of 400 to 500 annually now. It might be a little bit lower. We've certainly seen a pullback in content. I mean, you look at something like Disney Plus that used to constantly have this cadence of new shows, whether it was Star Wars or Marvel, and they're just not doing that anymore. So we've definitely seen a retrenchment. How much exactly, I'm not 100% sure, because Netflix obviously has not turned off their fire hose of content.
I wonder what Newton Minow would say at this point.
Oh,
the chairman of the FCC in 1961, when he called TV a vast wasteland. What would he think of it now that the town is spread so thin? I guess.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah. The classic Newton Minow. And if you're going to have a name like Newton Minow, you have to have a good quote.
Like Marshall McLuhan.
Memorable, that's for sure. Rob, if folks want to follow you, where should they go?
Triblive.com is the place, and then look for the A&E button or drop down and find TV Talk with Rob Owen.
There we go. Rob, thanks so much. We always enjoy our conversations with you. We appreciate it.
I always love talking TV with you guys. Take care.
All right,
thanks,
care.
Rob.
Rob Owen, again, triblive.com. He writes for the Trib. He's a TV writer and critic. Yeah, Newton Minow. Well, we'll talk about him when we come back from the break. Stick around.
Wind, hail, sudden leaks. When your roof takes a beating, we're here for you at AR Roofing and Remodeling. We're a locally and veteran-owned contractor available 24/7 for repairs. As an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we get the job done right. Call 724-550-3064 or visit arremodels.com for your free estimate.
AR Roofing, never settle.
Chris Parker Jr., it's almost Memorial Day, the unofficial beginning of the summer vacation season.
Travel safely and comfortably to the pool or on a long road trip in an all-wheel drive 26 Tucson or Santa Fe with third-row seating and 0% financing for 60 months, plus no payment for 90 days.
How about other vehicles?
Just announced, the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year is the 26 Palisade Hybrid, the first ever hybrid for the third-row Palisade, plus up to 35 miles per gallon highway. The 2026 Elantra Hybrid gets up to 58 miles per gallon highway, plus $2,000 retail bonus cash, or choose 2.99% financing for 60 months.
Don't forget Hyundai Owner Assurance, America's Best Warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection with every new Hyundai purchase, and 5-year unlimited miles roadside assistance. Autoland Hyundai, 25 East Fayette Street, downtown Union Center. Visit their website at autolandhyundai.com.
And remember, you always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
WMBS.
That's Rolling Stones to bring us out of the break here on a Wednesday, the afternoon drive show. We're with you late tonight, Nick. And let me tell you, until 9 o'clock, we've got a whole slew of guests coming up. I was talking earlier about the famous quote. How about slew? The famous quote by Newton Minow, who at the time was chairman of the FCC. He said that before the National Association of Broadcasters. And I can assure you that what you will observe is a vast wasteland, and some credit that speech with helping bring about the creation of PBS and better television. Stick around. We're with you till 9 o'clock tonight talking about a variety of topics, including baseball. News is next.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump says it's very possible the war with Iran could end soon. The president tells reporters in the Oval Office that there have been good talks over the past 24 hours and signals that Iran may be ready to strike a deal. CBS's Nancy Cordes with more.
So this wouldn't be some big overarching deal over Iran's nuclear program. It would simply say we are agreeing to talk about Iran's nuclear program, about U.S. sanctions on Iran, about frozen Iranian assets, and all the rest.
A Dutch cruise ship at the center of a deadly hantavirus is bound for the Canary Islands. CBS's Bradley Blackburn reports.
The World Health Organization says the risk to the public is low.
This is a really unique one-off occurrence, and we're not expecting any further spread.
The Spanish government says the ship will dock at the Canary Islands for a full disinfection in around 3 days.
The health ministry in Argentina says a Dutch husband and wife who died of hantavirus had traveled through Chile, Uruguay, and Argentina before boarding the MV Hondias on April 1st. And the experts are being sent to Ushuaia, Argentina, to test rodents for hantavirus. As Colorado deals with snow, millions across the Midwest and South are bracing for rain and a spring freeze. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
In the upper Midwest, as well as the Great Lakes, a late season push of cold air. Not much of a storm system there, but as the clouds clear out during the night tonight and into tomorrow, temperatures will be well below average for this time of year. We're expecting frost and freeze alerts and warnings. They are in effect for portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, on into the northern sections of Illinois. So Chicago is included in that as well, and over into Michigan.
There's a threat of severe weather from the Big Bend area of Texas to the mountains of Georgia. The threat of heavy rain has prompted flood watches across multiple states. 5 of 7 Indiana Republicans endorsed by President Trump defeat incumbent Republicans who were able to sink a congressional redistricting plan did win their primaries for the state Senate. It was retribution from the White House, but Republican Governor Mike Braun throws cold water on the idea of attempting another shot at redistricting.
I think that ship has sailed due to the fact that the only place that can be entertained is probably in a way before your primary. And of course, ours has passed.
DoorDash says it expects to spend more than $50 million in the second quarter on gas price relief for its delivery drivers. DoorDash said deliveries remained strong in the January to March period despite higher gas prices. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Police have arrested a Florida mom who allegedly kicked a player at her son's Pop Warner football game. CBS's Michael Wallace.
The Lee County Sheriff's Office says video shows Renee Lambert running out onto the field during a confrontation between the two teams in Fort Myers and kicking one of the boys. A deputy tracked Lambert down in the parking lot and detained her.
So you mad at them for hitting me? I'm mad at an adult for attacking a kid. Stop.
Lambert claimed a player hit her with his helmet and she retaliated, but deputies say she was never hit. She's charged with cruelty toward a child without causing great bodily harm and resisting an officer. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Apple has agreed to a $250 million settlement in a class action lawsuit over false advertising of Siri's AI capabilities. The lawsuit claims Apple misled consumers by promoting features that did not exist when the iPhone 16 launched in 2024. If approved, the deal means owners could receive at least $25 for each eligible device. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Your local station, WMBS, the Weather Watch this hour brought to you by Maloney's. They're on West Main Street, Uniontown, serving delicious, authentic Italian entrees and Maloney's since 1950. The WMBS Weather Watch for all of southwest Pennsylvania, overnight low at 44, up to 62 for Thursday with clouds and sun. Overnight low 42, sunny Friday, warming up to 65 and the overnight low at 52. Rain likely throughout the day. Saturday at 65 for the high, low 54. Chance of showers, maybe some storms on Sunday, Mother's Day, high at 69, overnight low 46. Cooling down to just 59 Monday and sunny Tuesday at 63, so still not out of the 60s through the middle of next week. with mostly lows in the mid-50s. Right now, cloudy and 53 degrees at 7:05 on this Wednesday evening. Good evening from the Davis & Davis studios. I'm Nick Barczyk. The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's on West Main Street, Uniontown. Call them for specials and more, 724-437-2061. Tonight we have Pirates baseball taking on Arizona at 9:15. Paul Skeens on the mound. And we have more of the afternoon drive show with Doug Saltzman next on WMBS.
Take the fact book.
Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? Fact, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. Fact, your community, your connection.
In a world of big corporations and interpersonal experiences, there's something truly special about family-owned businesses. For over 70 years, the Mike Kelly Automotive family has been serving the community with integrity, honesty, and a commitment to putting families first. And we're not stopping anytime soon. Our commitment to excellent sales and service remains stronger than ever. Visit us today and experience the Mike Kelly Automotive difference. Because when you buy from us, you buy from family.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
This is a Radio PA News Update. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is announcing a lawsuit against the maker of an AI chatbot he says is being used to provide an unlicensed medical practice. The lawsuit claims Character.ai users are allowed to create custom chatbots that pose as doctors and other medical professionals, with one even giving a fake state license number. Pennsylvania's medical board is demanding Character.ai cease and desist from engaging in an unlawful practice of medicine and surgery. Shapiro said his administration will not let AI companies mislead vulnerable people into believing they're getting advice from licensed medical professionals. Police detectives are gathering more details about a deadly road rage incident. Investigators say the driver of a Toyota Highlander opened fire at a group of motorcyclists that were chasing him Saturday afternoon. A 20-year-old man was killed while another man was hospitalized. Police are now looking for the driver of the Highlander. Anyone with information is asked to come forward. In other news, one person's in custody after crashing a truck outside a school playground. Investigators determined the truck was stolen when they arrived at Mitchell Elementary yesterday afternoon. Detectives said the driver ran a red light at high speeds before crashing. About a dozen students were on the playground, but none of them, fortunately, were hurt. The school district of Lancaster is approving the elimination of dozens of jobs as the district continues to address a $35 million budget deficit. The school board voted 7-2 last night to move forward with a proposal to cut 92 positions, furlough 3 employees, and not renew 37 others. Board members in favor of the cuts said they're necessary to move the district towards balancing the budget. The cuts will take effect at the end of June. And finally, we're less than 2 weeks away from Pennsylvania's primary election. Polls will open at 7 a.m. on May 19th. You can check your voter registration status and find your polling place online at the Department of State's website. I'm Juan Arango, and you're up to date with Radio PA.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Sapienza, WMBS's Morning Man, here to remind you of the letters for this week's Name It and Claim It Scrambled Word Game. For the 3rd week in a row, we have 9 letters in this week's puzzle. 9, and they are as follows. Listen up, listen close, listen carefully. O as in ostrich. P as in pound. T as in tarantula. C as in cat. R as in rhinoceros. O as in octopus. E as in eternal. T as in train, and R as in rain. The Those letters make up one word. You must use all the letters in your answer. No proper names, please. Should you unscramble those letters into the word we're looking for and are the lucky one chosen, you will win our WMBS Mother's Day prize pack, including a $25 gift card to Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop, a $30 packet of Pennsylvania lottery tickets, a box of chocolates, and some great WMBS swag. Sounds like a great prize pack, huh? Well, here's how you win it. Send in your answer along with your name, address, and phone number to Name It and Claim It, WMBS Radio, 44 South Mount Vernon Avenue, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 15401. Or if you really feel like it, you can drop your answer off personally here at the WMBS Broadcast House at that very same address. Either way, make sure your cards get in by no later than 4 p.m. this Thursday, May 7th. Enter as many times as you like. No purchase is necessary, because it's all from us, your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
Hour 3 of the afternoon drive show. We're going late tonight, folks, till 9 o'clock. I hadn't been on the last few weeks. I got some emails at radiosaltzman@email.com. I'm sorry, radiosaltzman@gmail.com. I don't think there's an email.com, is there?
Probably.
Saying, Doug,
somewhere.
you're not on the show. What happened? Well, I was preempted, as we say in the biz, by high
were
school
not-
sports and other sports, Pirates.
You were not relieved of your duties. as
No,
they
I'm
like to
still-
say.
I'm
You're
still
not a-
here.
You're not a part of CBS News Radio.
No, I'm
Oh,
not.
What a shame.
I'm not. But yeah, it's going to be interesting when that change comes about.
It is.
As you know, folks have asked me too, why aren't you interviewing as many CBS correspondents as you once did? And we haven't heard from Shane Rosenbaum. We used to hear from him almost once a week. We got the word last December that we could interview one correspondent or analyst from CBS a week.
That's amazing.
In fact, when I got the email, I thought it was a typo because
Right.
we used to be able to do 2 or 3 a day.
I thought they meant one a day.
I thought they meant one a day. And what was odd was, well, I won't go into all the details. So May 22nd, it'll be very strange. When will it be their last broadcast? 11 o'clock at night? Probably. 11:31 or midnight? Will they actually go into the
We'll have to find out. Yeah, it'll
23rd?
be.
So
it'll
I
be
may
sad.
have to tune in for that.
And we still don't know for sure who our next national news affiliate will be, but we'll have one.
That news will come about, and that'll be shared at the given time. And those decisions are made upstairs.
Oh my goodness.
We're downstairs.
We're downstairs. We're in the basement, pretty much. They would like us not even to be in the building, I think.
So, I thought the news of Ted Turner's passing was worth a further conversation, as might be a nice way to say it. So we're going to talk here in just a few moments with Dr. Robert Thompson. He's been a guest on our show over the years, director of the Bleier Center for Television and Pop Culture, Syracuse University, which I will repeat as soon as he's on the air with us, just to talk about the impact of Ted Turner. And it's just amazing how he changed television, a national network. I remember as a kid watching Atlanta baseball, and it was always interesting. If Atlanta was playing the Pirates, you could hear the Atlanta version of the game, and that was before ESPN and the rest. So it's rather interesting how he changed. I remember headline news. Nick, I don't know if you remember headline news.
A little bit.
It was literally the same newscast every half hour.
Right.
Now they would update stories and all, but it literally I remember people saying, how on earth can they put together a newscast every half hour when a local station would work hours putting together a half-hour newscast.
Right.
One half-hour newscast. And it was based out of Atlanta, not Chicago, not L.A., not New York.
Right.
The center of all things when it comes to news gathering, of course. But it was out of Atlanta. And, of course, then he owned the Braves as well, and he was all part of that. Wasn't it Turner Stadium at one point? Yeah, so it's I can't remember. Was it Nick? Let me ask you a question. Was it Turner Stadium? Did they ever call it Turner Stadium?
It was Turner Field. It was.
Turner Field.
He put the name on the stadium.
Yeah, he liked having his name on it.
He did. I'm amazed he didn't put his name on CNN, like TCNN.
Yeah, TCNN.
Turner Cable News Network. I'm sure somebody said, Ted, don't do that.
Yeah, maybe at some point one of his wives may have said that. Maybe Jane
It may be
said
changed, and maybe Miss
Jane
Fonda did.
said it.
Oh,
maybe it
God.
should have been the Fonda News Network.
Oh,
That
she
would
would have loved that.
And right now, joining us on the WMBS Newsmakers line, the director of the Bleier Center for Television and Pop Culture at Syracuse University, Dr. Robert Thompson. Dr. Thompson, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Good. Obviously, this news came down to the passing of Ted Turner, who hasn't owned CNN for quite some time. But there's no mistaking the impact he's had on television. Up there, probably with I don't know, with William Paley and some others. Did he have more impact than anybody, or is he up there in the top 5?
Well, I think certainly he's up there in the top 5 with his impact on television, but it wasn't just an impact on television. If you talk about the invention of 24-hour cable news, the impact that had on American politics, on the civic conversation, on global news, and on journalism, and by the way, both for the good and for the bad, I think we'd be hard-pressed to put too many things ahead of the invention of 24-hour news as 20th century impact on all of those things. And, there was all of a sudden, before CNN comes along, and by the way, he does that pretty early. When 1979 turns to 1980, less than a quarter of American households have cable. He launches CNN in June of 1980, 14 months before MTV gets launched. And MTV was a no-brainer. Didn't cost much money, cheap content, appealed to young, hard-to-get viewers. Launching a global 24-hour news operation with anchors and reporters and ultimately bureaus and all of that kind of thing was what sounded like an absolutely absurd idea, especially by the guy, known for WTBS that played nothing but Atlanta Braves and Andy Griffith reruns. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but not much.
No, that was it.
And then within a decade, he has completely made CNN become synonymous with breaking news. I mean, when there was news breaking, big news, you went to CNN. Like we use the word Kleenex for a facial tissue. CNN was breaking news. And all of that he did a lot of good things. He internationalized news, very much paid attention to international news. He hired 3 women to cover the Middle East, the first Gulf War and stuff over in Saudi Arabia. He referred to them as international correspondents rather than foreign correspondents. There was a lot of integrity and journalistic standards in CNN. But part of that is they could afford to do it because they had the whole field to themselves. In the middle of the 1990s, one right after the other, MSNBC and Fox News take that CNN pie, which is already a pretty small number of viewers, and break it into 3 pieces. And then all kinds of stuff happened, a lot of it not good.
The first Gulf War put CNN into the 1991 Gulf War, that is. And of course, George H.W. Bush, the elder Bush, acknowledged in his early media briefings that he was watching CNN to gauge the effectiveness of their own attacks.
Yeah, and so was the other side. And that whole war was, CNN became a war channel. That was a very short war. And we at our journalism school, our dean had the entire, from the time the war started till the end, he had CNN recorded. And, VHS tapes, 2 hours apiece. The entire war was played out on CNN. I would say you're right. I think that was the big story that no network that had other things on their schedule. They couldn't take that kind of time. That was the kind of thing that 24-hour news channel could do. The other things that put them on the map earlier, though, was they were the only ones covering the launch of the Challenger when it exploded shortly thereafter. The other networks broke in and went back and played tape, but CNN was covering it live, which really gave it some, I think, credence and credibility. And remember Baby Jessica fell down that well?
Oh, absolutely.
That was, I think, 87? And all the networks broke into I mean, we were totally enraptured by that story. But CNN could really stay with it because they didn't have the obligations to get back to their local news or get back to their, the other obligations that stations had. CNN could just stay with it. So that by the end of the 80s, and certainly by the Gulf War, CNN had really become the place you went to for breaking news. And they enjoyed that for half a decade, and then they had to start splitting the spoils. And when they had to start doing that, some of the not so journalistically sound methods were being employed by all three of those operators.
I'm talking to Dr. Thompson. Sir, do you think, I'm not sure if you can even answer this, but were you aware, was Ted in his later years, the last few decades, satisfied with what CNN became or what CNN was perceived to have been? I mean, it went away from two anchors just reading headlines to talk shows, to a lot of editorializing that continues, obviously, into the Trump era. Was he happy and satisfied with that, or do you know that?
I don't know a lot, and he didn't give a whole bunch of interviews, although he was by no means a hermit. No. I think we could be comfortable saying that the Ted Turner that created CNN, given the standards and what he wanted to do and the decisions he made to make CNN what it was while he was there, I think the tastes of that Ted Turner had to have been disappointed by some of the things that had happened, not only to CNN but to broadcast or television journalism in general. On the other hand, I don't know how his own opinions changed and altered, and he was a smart guy. He would have seen how all the challenges that came to 24-hour news came when more and more people got into business. And then, of course, when the Internet came along, that just took all of those tendencies and made them even more extreme.
And it's interesting when you think about something like the Jessica McClure rescue. I'd forgotten, as you mentioned that, I pulled it up here. I'd forgotten it was 58 hours long it took to rescue that girl from that well.
Yeah.
And CNN was there practically the entire time, and everybody else followed suit. I remember talking to a friend of mine who's a producer locally, and she said the national guys would, okay, what's CNN covering? Okay, let's cover that. They would literally use that as their worksheet at times.
And how quick did that happen? I mean, when CNN started, nobody took the idea of what he was going to do seriously. Well, I suppose some people did, but the old line, they called it the chicken noodle network, which I don't understand what that means. I don't know why that's an insult. It makes no sense to me. Chicken noodle soup is a good thing. Why call a news operation but anyway, it was an insult when they talked about it. And you're right, by the time we got to the end of the decade, CNN was to some extent setting the agenda. So it is so hard. Since it changed, and we don't think as much in this country about CNN International, but that was also they became and still are a major, major force in international reporting. And since that's so important, since it did change our politics, by the way, for both the good and the bad, I keep wanting to remind us, there's bad things came out of the whole 24-hour news cycle thing. But for all of it changed, it's hard to talk about anything else that Turner did because that was by far the most important. But the rest of the list, it never stops, from bringing bison back to the West to, of course, the marriage of celebrities with Jane Fonda. The fact that he gets that big yachting trophy in 1977. His work with conservation. He created what I think is the one cable channel that does what it does better than any other cable channel does what it does. That being Turner Classic Movies. Cartoon Network was a Turner creation. By the way, he gave us the most wonderful Turner Classic Movies, but the colorized version of Casablanca also has the fingerprints of one Mr. Ted Turner on it.
For good or for bad, a lot of folks hate when they turn those color ones. That people say, "Oh, they were made in black and white. Keep them in black and white."
And Turner was really into that idea of colorizing. He ultimately backed off for the very reason you just described.
Exactly.
Nick Barczyk, Doug Saltzman speaking with media expert from Syracuse University, Dr. Robert Thompson. And Dr. Thompson, I mean, you could write a book about this, but if you could, as we talk about Mr. Turner's legacy, just from a macro version, the future of cable news, the future, frankly, of cable TV, what it looks like in 2026, what do you think it'll look like in the next few years or decades?
Well, I don't know. I mean, cable TV as such, I think, is, I mean, pretty much everybody is getting their TV now, not over the air. That was the broadcast model, though over the air stations still exist. Most people aren't getting it by cable, though cable is still hooked up and cable channels still exist. But clearly, most people are getting it now by streaming, and I think that's going to continue. With streaming, of course, came the change of both broadcast and television were linear. We watched things when they were on, and streaming, of course, has completely changed that. The whole idea of late-night television has become irrelevant. In the title of late-night TV is that you had to watch it at late night. Now there are late-night type shows, but people aren't watching it late night. Anyway, I think that new model is a real challenge to news. Certainly, print news business has been collapsing. How many newspapers have gone out of business? How many people who used to aspire to anchor jobs and working for big news operations are now going to their own podcasts and their own little independent things. CBS, what has happened to CBS in the last 6 months is something I never would have imagined. So I have very sad predictions for the state of American journalism, and of course, as journalism goes, so goes a republic. Journalism is an institution that needs to be healthy for a republic to be healthy, and I think both of them are very, very not healthy as we speak.
I know you got plans for tonight. We want to let you go on time, so I have one quick question here. It'll affect our station and 700 others across the nation. CBS News Radio it ceases to exist 16 days from today, which is hard to believe.
I did an interview for CBS Radio today about Ted Turner, and those people who I've been talking to for 20 years are still doing their jobs as though it's going to go on forever. But you're right, in a couple of weeks it will disappear like Betty White, just shy of its 100th birthday. And, of course, CBS Radio is what brought us the invention of broadcast journalism. Most people point to Murrow, those reports from London, those reports from Buchenwald. Broadcast journalism is born in some of it. It did some of its greatest work when it was in those very infant years, and that work was done at CBS Radio.
Dr. Thompson, thanks so much. We enjoy our occasional conversations with you. We really do appreciate your taking the time.
I always enjoy them very much. Thank you for continuing to call me after these many years.
Oh, absolutely. Just Google Dr. Robert Thompson, and there's lots of information to be had. So check it out. Have a good evening, sir.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you. We're just a couple minutes away here from the CBS News Brief. We can almost count how many are left. Well, not quite. I'm getting a little too
No, it is sad. It is sad.
Yeah, it is a terrible news. But
Shocking.
I keep saying it over and over. I don't want people to worry. We will have a national news affiliation. We don't know what that is, and Nick and I will probably know once we know. Does that make sense? Coming up at about 7:35, we're going to check in with Chris Nicholas, of course, the veteran Republican political consultant and analyst, will join us, talk about the latest in politics. We'll talk about all that coming up. As I mentioned, we're just a few minutes away from that CBS News Brief. At 7. Why we should ask somebody at CBS before it's gone. Why
not? They have nothing to lose at this point. Yeah, I'm guessing because local stations want to air something at 30. Yeah. We don't, but maybe they could.
Well, maybe we should for the next 16 days. Let's work on that during the afternoon.
We'll work on that. Yeah, because that's my decision, really.
Quick look at the forecast here. 52 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Going down to 42 degrees tonight.
Oh.
Clouds through the night. And you know what's going to happen tomorrow morning?
It's going to be light.
Yeah, the sun will come up and it will be light.
42.
It's going to be a sunny day. Sun and clouds early tomorrow morning, but sun in the morning and later in the day it gets more cloudy with the high tomorrow 57 degrees. About a 50-50 chance of rain on Friday, high 57. The weekend's looking at the mid to low 60s with a chance of rain both Saturday and Sunday. Chris Nicholas is going to be joining us here shortly. And then as we go into the fourth hour of the show tonight, I've been on for 7 hours the last 2 days. I haven't been on for a while, but now that I'm back, I'm probably on too much. Andy Masick's going to join us from the Heinz History Center. Following that, Bill Hughes, columnist for the Herald Standard. We're going to talk to him about Pirate baseball. Not a bad season so far. We'd be in first place in an American division. And we're the only division, the Pirates are, in the only division where all teams are over 500. So it's been a pretty good season so far, that's for sure. Penguins, unfortunately, their season is done. Let's go to CBS News for the update.
CBS News brief. President Trump says it's very possible the war with Iran could end soon.
They want to make a deal badly, and we'll see if we get there. If we get there, they can't have nuclear weapons. It's very simple.
Investigators are trying to figure out where exposure to hantavirus began and who's been exposed after 3 deaths and several illnesses on a cruise ship. The BBC's David Harper reports.
The first plane carrying passengers airlifted off a cruise ship at the centre of a deadly outbreak of hantavirus has landed in Amsterdam. The Dutch Foreign Ministry says the 3 patients will be transferred to specialist hospitals in Europe.
The South, from the Big Bend area of Texas to the mountains of Georgia, is in the path of some bad weather. Meteorologist Craig Allen with more.
Severe spring weather is taking place across the Deep South. It includes Louisiana as well as the southern half of Mississippi, where a tornado watch is in effect almost till midnight for tonight.
CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
Tired of running out of hot water? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is your local source for reliable tank and tankless gas water heaters. Whether you're replacing an old unit or upgrading to an energy-efficient tankless system, we have options to fit your home and budget. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you get dependable hot water when you need it most. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com. Koval Building Supply. Everything you need to keep your home running comfortably.
We have your gifts to celebrate love, birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions, or all the above. Things that go bling, earring pendants and rings, all types of handbags, crossbodies, concealed carry, and slings, Western Southwest, boots, hats, and more, silver Zapata jewelry, fun fashion turquoise. It's a staple in our store. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, located in the rear of the State Farm Building, 724-557-6184. We value your shopping experience here with us at Strap, so come on in, sit a spell, enjoy a refreshment, and a bag of peanuts. Strap, 724-557-6184. We're open Tuesday to Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturdays, 10 to 3. Convenient street parking right in front of our shop. You're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices. Shop small, shop Strap.
It's gorgeous outside, which means it's time to get to Bittersweet Cafe of Farmington. From their incredible daily lunch specials featuring farm-to-table fresh ingredients to their refreshing drinks, frozen treats, smoothies, and iced tea, Bittersweet Cafe has something for everyone. Enjoy this beautiful spot nestled in the Laurel Highland Mountains, just a few miles outside of Ohiopyle on Farmington, Ohiopyle Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Benjamin F. Goodwin, voted Fayette County's best attorney, and the entire award-winning Goodwin Como Law team have been trusted by your friends and neighbors for the past 20 years. From estate planning and administration to personal injury, workers' compensation, family law, and criminal defense, they deliver dedicated, personalized representation with 2 convenient offices in Uniontown and Bell Vernon. Visit GoodwinComo.com or call them at 724-438-1616 for your free initial consultation. Goodwin Como, righting wrongs, securing justice.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
WMBS.
You know, when you come out of a break, you want jumping, big, exciting music. I'm kidding. No, this is good. This is The Who. How about the Stones? Another album. Their 25th.
I mean, Mick is just addicted to work, and he's got to pay for his new kids. He's got
17 grandkids.
Yes.
I think 2 great-grandchildren and 1 great-great-grandchild.
60-year-old kid and a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah,
God love
something
him.
like that.
Yeah.
He's having. I wouldn't mind being one of Mick's kids.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I don't even have to. Dad doesn't even have to visit. Just,
Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Send me the trash. Fine.
Send me the check.
Exactly. Joining us right now, first off, we want to thank Dr. Robert Thompson for joining us from Syracuse University talking about Ted Turner. And I think I might ask our next guest about the impact of Ted Turner on politics over the years. But joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, veteran Republican political consultant and analyst Christopher Nicholas. Christopher, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Doug, you're really dating yourself with all that Stones talk. You know, their first songs came out when you and I were born in the early 60s. So.
Yeah, I saw them in Heinz Field several years ago. My ticket was $375. And they showed a ticket from when the Pirates, how did that come from? When the Stones first played in Pittsburgh at a place called Dance Land at an old amusement park called Westview Park up in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. Yeah. And they came to Pittsburgh. They came to America before they were big. It wasn't like the Beatles. And the ticket to go to Dance Land to see them was $3.75.
Wow.
Compared to my $375. But I saw the Stones. It wasn't the first time. Probably won't be the last I ever see the Stones. But they're still rocking. It really is amazing. So let's talk about what I just mentioned. And we've been talking to some folks today about Ted Turner, the impact he's had on television. He certainly had an impact on politics, too. Politics was talked about on the evening news for 3 or 4 minutes with Walter Cronkite or Dan Rather. But, man, when Turner came around, it came along with his 24/7, politics was in people's faces a lot more than ever before, I suppose, correct?
Well, you had to fill that airtime with something, right? And having a bunch of people sit around and pontificate about the issue of the day is, 1, easy to produce, and 2, fairly inexpensive. And 3, that back and forth. You remember the old CNN show, Ted Turner founded CNN as well, Crossfire.
Right.
And that has given birth to a million shows. I mean, the show I do on Sundays this week in Pennsylvania, which your viewers can watch at noon on KDKA Plus or Channel 19, it's, derivative of that, because half the show is me and the host and one of my Democratic counterparts going back and forth on the, mostly Pennsylvania-oriented political issues of the day. But, people can't seem to get enough of it, whether they agree with it or not. Let me bring up another thing that changed because of that. He, when he first bought WTBS, it was basically a failing UHF channel. And for content, he bought the Atlanta Braves and put every game on, and that revolutionized baseball. But it led to cable TV, people paying to have cable even though they had free TV coming in on WTAE or KDKA or whatever. So that grew so much that it became another medium that campaigns had to advertise on. And, broadcast stations go all over southwest Pennsylvania. But the cable zones are cut up so that candidates running for smaller offices like State House and State Senate can advertise on TV. And that did a lot in my business. I'm a Republican political consultant, of course. When I first started off, you didn't have to worry about TV ads for people running for State House because it wasn't worth buying an ad for all of Pittsburgh to see when you were just talking to 60,000 people in the Mon Valley or whatever. Yeah. So cable TV came. They allowed you to kind of cut up the whole area into what were called local neighborhood zones, smaller areas. Yeah. So now you could afford it, and then people came to expect it. So now, for years, we have to do TV ads for State House candidates.
This is interesting. You're talking about Turner and, of course, the Braves. I'm looking at some research here. I had forgotten about this. Ted Turner managed the Braves for one game. After he sent, after a 16-game losing streak, he sent the manager, Jay Bristol, on a 10-day scouting trip, and he became a manager for one day. The first owner-manager since Connie Mack. In one game, he lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I had forgotten about that.
Well, if you own the team, you can make anyone you want manager, right?
I suppose you can. Why not? Why not? He did it. So he put that on his resume too.
So if people are tired of TV ads for political campaigns, one of the people they can thank for making that happen is Ted Turner.
Ted Turner, right. We wanted to talk about the governor's race, of course, this year, and I was hoping when we talked today that the numbers would have come out of fundraising between the incumbent Governor Shapiro and his challenger, Stacey Garrity, the state treasurer, but I guess Garrity has not released her numbers just yet. Is she going to release them, say, on a Sunday morning so they don't get a lot of attention, or could
No,
being outraised?
It's just that Shapiro announced them early because he's been getting some bad press this week about something he did against a fellow Democrat named Erin McClellan from your part of the world 2 years ago. He was so angry at her, she's the Democratic candidate for state treasurer, that he asked a couple local unions to endorse the Republican state treasurer, Stacey Garrity, who they did, and who is now his opponent in the governor's race. So he wanted to get away from that bad news, so he released his numbers a little early. So Stacey Garrity, I don't know what they're be. She's not late or behind. He's just early. And, of course, Josh Shapiro is going to raise more money than the challenger because he's the incumbent. He's always been a really good fundraiser. That's been one of his best attributes as a politician, as insufferable as he is. He is a very good fundraiser. So it's important for Stacey Garrity to raise enough money to run a credible race, which she's well on the way to. But you're never going to outraise him. Unlike 4 years ago, when the party kind of abandoned the Republican nominee for governor because he was just such a bad candidate, they've rallied around Stacey Garrity. So she's going to have not just her own campaign money, but also money from, the state party, the national party, the Republican Governors Association. So she'll have more oars in the water this time than our nominee did 4 years ago. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It might make it slightly less hard as compared to 4 years ago. And I noticed today in some of the stories that she is releasing, or did yesterday, released her first couple TV ads, which are running across the state for the next 2 weeks as our primary is on May 19th, so we're less than 2 weeks away. So I assume that's why she did that. And then once the primary is over, if not even before, I think you'll start to see Shapiro ads.
Right. You mentioned a moment ago Doug Mastriano, who ran against Shapiro 4 years ago, or 3.5 years ago now, I suppose, and got obliterated. And I've now seen yard signs in certain areas that say "Write in Doug." They want folks to write in Doug Mastriano in hopes that he'll get the Republican nomination, since they couldn't gather enough signatures to get him on the ballot. Although I don't think he ever actually would have. It would have to be a writing campaign, because I don't think he ever really wanted to attempt to get signatures to get on the governor's race. But when I think back about that, when Barbara Hafer ran against Bob Casey Sr. for his reelection, it was
1990.
Right. It was the biggest loss ever against an incumbent governor. Was Mastriano's loss the biggest ever in an open seat for governor? I guess that would take a lot of research, but certainly in our lifetimes, right?
So Barbara Hafer in 1990 running against the incumbent old man Bob Casey Sr., she lost 2-1. She lost 197 of the 203 state house districts across the state. And to tell you how long ago that was, the 6 she won were in southeastern PA, Montgomery County, and Bucks County, where I'm from, which would not be the case today. It's hard to do an apples-to-apples comparison, because until 68, we couldn't have two-term governors.
Oh, you're right. What am I thinking?
Here in Pennsylvania, so it's a little bit, difficult to do that type of comparison. But look, 2022, in terms of how that cycle played out, it was fairly neutral, right? It wasn't, very pro-Republican or pro-Democrat. 2020 was an even-Steven cycle. Trump lost the presidency, but we won. Stacey Garrity beat an incumbent Democrat for state treasurer. 2022 was a pretty good year for Democrats here, but nationally kind of even-Steven. 2024 was a very good year for Republicans here. 2026 is shaping up to be a pretty good cycle, pretty good year for Democrats, given the president's struggles and his relatively low approval rating. So as we get into the fall, it'll be important for people on my side of the aisle, Republicans, to really differentiate themselves and to make sure that they paint their opponent as not just a generic Democrat, because a generic Democrat will do pretty good this fall, right? So you have to make sure to take great pains to point out their foibles, their failings, their falsehoods, because you don't want to allow a Democrat just to be a generic Democrat this fall, because that'll hurt you.
You talked about the 1990 race for Barbara Hafer. I was her campaign manager 2 years earlier in 1988 when she ran for Auditor General and won. I can't take credit for that. She fired me during the summer after I had objected.
You're nobody, Doug, unless the Hafe fired you or tried to fire you.
Yeah, I was part of the support groups. There were 17 of us, I think, at one point.
Oh, there's lots of folks at in her campaigns and the Treasury and the Republican Party of Pennsylvania. As I said, you weren't nobody unless the Hafe tried to fire you at some point.
And I took a leave. I was working for Spectre early in my career, working for our former boss, Arlen Spectre, and I took a leave of absence at his insisting to run Barbara's campaign. And then when I called and said, listen, I need to get out of this thing, considering what I was being asked to do, and Spectre called me. Here he's calling a low-level staffer. What was I, 1988? I was 26 years old. He said, now, why do you want to leave her campaign? He called me on a Sunday night at home, and I went through the reasons. He said, yeah, you should leave her campaign. So I before I could leave, she fired me on a Friday. I was back on Spectre staff on Monday. So
you always land on your feet, Doug.
That's right. And she and then of course she won. She beat Dawn Bailey that year, first time, and not until Stacey Garrity beat an incumbent for state treasurer. That was the last time, from my memory, that an incumbent was lost on a statewide row office race. Dawn Bailey was the incumbent Auditor General, and Barbara Hick beat him.
Part of history, Doug.
Yeah, exactly. Take that for what it's worth, I suppose. Talking with Chris Nicholas, veteran Republican political consultant. Christopher, wanted to ask your thoughts. We always like to talk about your Pennsylvania Political Digest. You are the editor of that, and you frequently talk about the, quote, always newsy, not nosy, but newsy senior senator in Pennsylvania, John Fetterman. The thought of him running for re-election, I can't imagine he has any chance as a Democrat. Does he run as an incumbent and win with, 38% of the vote?
So I wrote recently at my PA Political Digest newsletter, which comes out twice a week. I wrote about kind of the top 5 challengers to Fetterman in the Democratic primary, whether he runs for re-election or not. And they were basically a bunch of members of Congress and the state rep, Malcolm Kenyatta, who's run for statewide office before. And it also was, 2 people from your part of the world, former Congressman Connor Lamb and his replacement in that district, Chris DeLuzio. And I said, those 2 people can't run at the same time because they're essentially the same person, right? They're a, more moderate centrist Democrat, big-time labor bona fides, both veterans. DeLuzio's even an Annapolis graduate. So if you look at Fetterman, he has higher approval ratings with Republicans than Democrats, okay? So he'd have to be in a multi-candidate Democratic primary in order to prevail. Now, he could decide, I've had my term, I'm not going to run again. He could switch to the GOP. I don't think that's going to happen. The Republican Party does not want an avidly pro-labor, avidly pro-choice, abortion on demand type of guy as their nominee. So I don't think he could win a Republican primary. So if I were to advise him, which I'm not and I won't, but if you run as an independent, that allows you to do two things. You get past the primary. You have to collect signatures across the state, but he could do that over the summer. You have like 10 weeks to do it. And that would get him on the ballot in the general election. And then, if you're running against both a Republican and a Democrat, then things get a little bit dicier, and you're in a larger pool of voters. It'll be a presidential year, right? That's our highest turnout normally. So you could find enough people that like his, special maverick approach. What I would be concerned with if I were one of his people is he does not seem to be spending a lot of time fundraising, right? He has a young family at home, so besides trying to be there and also, being a senator, he has not spent a lot of time fundraising. And if you go the independent route, then you're really all by yourself. So it's harder to raise money because you don't have your tribe helping you, the Republicans or the Democrats. So, but how fascinating would that be? Which is why I call him our always newsy senior senator. Imagine in a presidential year with a presidential race, all of those row offices up, Attorney General, Auditor General, Treasurer, and then we have a three-way race for U.S. Senate between a Democratic nominee, a Republican nominee, and then John Fetterman. I think most Republicans would say that would favor us because he's more likely in the general election, not in the primary, in a general election, to take more votes from the Democratic nominee than from the Republican nominee. But as I tell people about politics, I've said this before in your show, Doug, if you're bored with Pennsylvania politics, wait 6 months because it'll change.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Who knows, 2.5 years from now, what would be going on now? The president has said, publicly via his social media to come on over, and he'd have his, whatever Trump says, complete and total support or something. So that's one thing, but I don't think that would hold a lot of water in a Republican primary. And having worked for a candidate who switched parties in the middle of a race and then ran in a different primary, this is Arlen Specter, who switched in 2009, and I stayed with him to run the 2010 primary. The grass is always the greenest right when you switch, and after that, it's kind of different because now you have different expectations on you. So he's always newsy, John Fetterman, right?
There's some question, too. I mean, I was with a political consulting firm in the mid-'80s. You've done this for decades. A lot of guys and gals love running for office. They don't like serving in office. And the opposite's true. I mean, of course, John Fetterman, he had missed a number of votes because he took a 6-week leave of absence for depression treatment. But at the same time, his attendance numbers at times, he missed 77 of 381 votes in the Senate between April 24 and March 2025. He missed 75% of Homeland Security Committee meetings as of early 2026. He missed 44 or 45 committee meetings beginning in early 2025. So at times he doesn't seem to be interested in some of that stuff. Do you think he's just said, I served one term. He doesn't need the money. He has family money. And do you think he might just say, I served one term. I'm happy. I'll go on MS Now or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it could be, and it could be he has 3 kids still at home. He may have prioritized that I'm going to spend my time, A, with my kids, and then B, in my Senate office, but not doing fundraising or traveling the state. Our other senator, our junior senator, Dave McCormick, a Republican, between he and his wife, it's a second marriage for both, they have 6 daughters, but they are all out of high school, and some are even out of college. So, that's just different than having a 13-year-old or a 15-year-old, however old Fetterman's 3 kids are. So you're right, Doug. He may say, hey, I had my time. It was great, and I'll go off and do something else until my kids are all grown up and out of the house, and then out to do something else. And I find it interesting that both he and Josh Shapiro are off the reservation when it comes to Democrats on a key issue, which is support of Israel. Fetterman's more blunt about it. Shapiro, of course, is also Jewish and is a little bit more articulate about it. But Shapiro has high approval ratings from Democrats, and Fetterman has low approval ratings. So I think what a lot of Democrats are doing is saying, stop going on Fox News and parroting Republican talking points on Israel and also the war and also some other cultural issues. Because when you look at his greater voting record, he's still voting with Democrats 90% of the time.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Those votes just don't get any attention because they're normal and expected.
Chris Nicholas, folks want to follow you. Tell them how they can get and start following and paying for Pennsylvania Political Digest and of course your website too for your consulting firm.
So my political consulting firm, if you're running for office or you have a conservative issue you want to get out there, is eagleconsult.com. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, just go to papoliticaldigest.com. There'll be a sign-up box there, and like I said, the only weekly show on PA politics is called This Week in Pennsylvania, and folks like you can watch it on KDKA Plus Sundays at noon. And Doug, it is always a pleasure to chat with you because we walk down history's lane, and we also talk about current stuff, too.
There we go. Absolutely. Chris, thanks so
Doug.
much. All right. Have a good evening. Chris Nicholas, good guy, knows his stuff, level-headed, and a fantastic consultant, frankly, if you're running for office on the right side of the aisle or pushing a conservative issue. Stick around. We're going to wrap up the 7 o'clock hour in a moment.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, and Saturdays, 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228, for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
Hello, Uniontown and Fayette County. This is Jeff Swanzo from the Quattrini Law Group. Injured in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, we provide a free consultation at our Uniontown or Somerset offices. We deal with insurance companies every day, all day. Do you need guidance with your medical treatment? We can help you find the right medical providers. Quattrini's Law Group's clients can concentrate on what really matters, getting the medical treatment you need to recover after an automobile, truck, or motorcycle collision. The consultation in our Uniontown or Somerset office is free. Call Quattrini Law Group today at 1-888-534-6016. Again, that's 1-888-534-6016. Or you can Google us at Quattrini Law Group.
That sneeze was in a different zip code, and I still felt the germs.
Relax, Randy. I went to Montgomery Medical. I'm fully shielded.
Like a flu shot?
Flu, COVID, the works. If you haven't caught up on your shots yet, they'll get you sorted in minutes. It's basically a suit of armor, but with less clanking. Then do the double shot. After Montgomery Medical, head over to Renew You Medispa. I got their immunity IV drip.
A Medispa?
You relax, you hydrate, and you give your immune system a VIP upgrade.
Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
WMBS.
Can you believe it? We're not done yet. CBS News coming up here in just a few moments. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. You're listening to the Afternoon Drive Show. I'm with you till 9 o'clock tonight. Coming up in the next hour, Andy Masick, President and CEO of the Heinz History Center, talking about the latest there, their big expansion plans. Then Bill Hughes is going to join us and talk about Pirate baseball on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Severe weather is forecast from Texas to Georgia tonight, with Mississippi and Alabama at highest risk for tornadoes. This as a late spring snowstorm has started to taper off in Colorado after dumping about 2 feet of snow in some mountain communities. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
After a winter with a paltry amount of snowfall for the Rockies, especially across Colorado, they are getting their share of wintry weather now. Very late in the season, but the Winter Storm Severity Index is showing at least a 90% probability of more impacts from this snowstorm across the state of Colorado, especially up and down the I-25 corridor.
President Trump says the U.S. is making progress toward a peace deal with Iran, even as he warns bombing could resume if negotiations fail. CBS's Natalie Brand.
He reiterated that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and said that they've agreed to that. Now, we have not yet seen a response from Iran to the president's latest comments. And we do also know that the president issued another threat saying that bombing would restart at a higher intensity if they do not agree to a peace deal.
Investigators are trying to figure out where exposure began after the deadly hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship off the coast of Africa. CBS's Tom Hansen.
The Dutch Foreign Ministry says those 3 passengers believed to be infected with the deadly hantavirus will receive specialized medical treatment in Europe after a high-stakes evacuation off the MV Hondius. Now a debate is raging over what to do with the nearly 150 remaining passengers, just days away from reaching the Canary Islands.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been questioned by members of the House Oversight Committee about his relationship with late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California has accused Lutnick of changing his story as new facts have emerged. Republican Committee Chairman James Comer says Secretary Lutnick was very transparent, but
if we find that there were any misstatements by Lutnick, it's a felony to lie to Congress, and he'll be held accountable.
synthetic chemicals known as PFAS leaked into northwest Georgia rivers from carpet mills for years and into the drinking water, according to reporting from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Associated Press, and PBS's Frontline. They say Georgia's Environmental Protection Division was warned but did nothing. Corinne Bell is with the Natural Resources Defense Council. She says PFAS
has been linked to a wide range of harmful health effects like cancer, liver, kidney, and thyroid problems. So these chemicals are very potent, even in small doses.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
A boy dies after a tree falls on him at his school in Massachusetts. CBS's Michael Wallace.
Winthrop Elementary School in Melrose had just let out Monday afternoon when a gust of wind toppled the tree onto the school's playground, injuring 2 students and an adult. 9-year-old Zachariah Belcade later died of his injuries.
It's a freak accident.
Selwyn Palmer is the school's former crossing guard.
Can you imagine a little kid like that? It's going to be sad for all the kids.
The tree belonged to a historical society next door, which says an arborist had recently checked the property and found that tree posed no risk. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
U.S. health regulators have announced their first authorization of fruit-flavored e-cigarettes intended for adult smokers. It's a major shift that comes after months of appeals to the Trump White House from the vaping industry. As a presidential candidate, Trump promised to save the vaping industry. The new e-cigarettes come in mango, blueberry, and 2 varieties of menthol. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Your local station, WMBS, the Weather Watch, brought to you by Maloney's, West Main Street, Uniontown, serving delicious, authentic Italian entrees and Maloney since 1950. And every now and then, Rick Seaback and Doug Saltzman will be there signing autographs. The overnight low is at 44, up to 62 for tomorrow. The overnight low at 41, 65 for Friday, overnight low 51. Rain likely Saturday at 65 for the high, overnight low dropping down to 54. Chance for storms late and some rain during the day. Mother's Day Sunday at 68, then only at 59 for Monday with the overnight low down to 38, 63 Tuesday. Right now cloudy and 53 degrees at 8:05 on this Wednesday evening. And good evening from the Davis and Davis studios at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk. The Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's. Give them a ring for specials. Ask about their popular banquet facility and banquet menu at Maloney's, 724-437-2061. Coming up tonight, Pirates baseball taking on the Diamondbacks in Arizona. On the air with that at 9:15 and the game at 9:40. Paul Skeens on the mound tonight as the Bucs look to bounce back after their loss last night. More of the afternoon drive show with Doug Saltzman next on WMBS.
Tune in each Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1 for Garden Talk Radio. It's the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Topic-focused, guests from across the country, and answering your garden questions. Send your questions in now to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1. Catch the replay Monday evenings from 6 to 7 p.m.
Wind, hail, sudden leaks. When your roof takes a beating, we're here for you at AR Roofing and Remodeling. We're a locally and veteran-owned contractor available 24/7 for repairs. As an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we get the job done right. Call 724-550-3064 or visit arremodels.com for your free estimate.
AR Roofing, never settle.
Is your lawn getting shaggy? Weeds taking over? Maybe it's time for a full yard cleanup or fresh mulch and clean, crisp edges to bring your landscape back to life. Whatever your lawn needs, Z's Ground Control has you covered. They do it right the first time. Call 724-366-9150 today for your free estimate. Z's Ground Control. You grow it, we mow it.
This Mother's Day, forget the candy and flowers. Win Mom a trip to Napa Valley at Live Casino. Earn entries every day starting May 1st and join our drawings on May 10th. You could win Mom-approved gifts like luxury perfumes, spa gift cards, wine subscriptions, and the grand prize, a trip to Napa Valley. Make this Mother's Day a winner at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
As a promise, this is the last hour of the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I did get some emails at radiosaltzman@gmail.com saying, where you been? Yeah, I've been preempted, as we call it, high school sports. It's a great time. Great that a local station like ours can air high school sports. And we air high school sports like that because there's community support for it. We're nice people around here, but it's not a community service.
No.
Right. So, local businesses want to support it. We have a couple of high school baseball games left, a couple of rainouts that have to be made out. However, the Laurel Highlands, the Rams softball team's going to the playoffs.
The Lower Highlands Mustangs, yes.
Mustang, what did I say? Rams,
yes.
Mustangs.
Yeah, we had the softball team is in the playoffs, yes. Yeah. We'll have those games.
I felt very bad. I did get an email saying if you're going to bring up the two seniors who did well in the game the other day, you should know their names. I didn't know their names.
Oh,
jeez. I was embarrassed by that. So Nick mentioned them earlier.
Tell him you can't know everything.
Exactly. The winning pitcher was a senior yesterday for the Lower Highlands Mustangs, and his name was
Jack Johns.
The winning hit.
Had the winning hit. Noah Lyon.
And Noah Lyon. There we go.
Congratulations.
So I'm giving him two shout-outs because I
go.
didn't have the information the other day. It was one of those things I thought I had the note with me.
We did announce it during the game if that person would have listened to the game.
Yeah, it's not no members of the family. I'm just saying someone said, oh, you should know the name. I apologize. I'll bring it up on my next show.
Right.
So there I am, bringing up on the next show. And we were talking about something the Strand Theater is doing, which is up in Suianople, Butler County. They're having a special event commemorating, congratulating, celebrating Rick Seebeck's 50 years in public broadcasting. A Few Good Moments is what the show is called. It's on
50 years he's been at PBS.
how about in
WQED.
public television, QED,
Wow.
and another station at
Wow.
one point down in North Carolina. Sunday, June 14th, a 2 p.m. show is sold out. There's a 5 p.m. show, $15 general admission. Here, I asked this question off the air. Let's mention it on the
But
air.
he's only in his 40s, by the way, Rick. How does that work?
That's
now?
right. Should we do something like that at the State Theater?
Yeah, I think the state could do it. Why not? Reach out. You know people there, right? You're popular.
Oh yeah, I'm popular. That's right. So yeah, usually you have talks like this behind me. I didn't mention it to Rick Seebeck. Didn't mention it at the State Theater, but it would. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Jimmy Buffett tribute there this weekend. You should. You're a
Exactly.
Jimmy Buffett fan. You can go to that.
Exactly. A friend of mine's a Jimmy Buffett fan. She goes on cruises for Jimmy Buffett. for heaven's
Wow,
sakes.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a. I've never been into Buffett music. It's just not my thing. But
Right.
man, people love it.
They do.
People.
The Coral Reefer Band and the Cheeseburgers in Paradise, all that. Wasting away in Margaritaville, which I think we need some. I think you need one, Doug.
You think that's what I need?
Yeah, margarita, something. It was
I'm
Cinco
not
de
a fa-
Mayo
I'm not
yesterday.
a fancy drinker. Yukon Jack and Yuengling.
That's
more-
all you need.
That's more my
It's good
thing.
for
And
me.
Impin' and Iron, Imperial Whiskey and Iron City Beer.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good. Whatever gets the
I
job
was talking
done.
to somebody the other day from Philadelphia. We were talking about Schmidt's beer. I guess some family, the Schmidt's family, bought Schmidt's beer and they're starting to make it again.
Right.
But that was out of the Philadelphia area, not quite the size it once was. My dad was a Schmidt's drinker, not to be confused with Schlitz.
I was going to say, I've heard of Schlitz.
But this was Schmidt's, and my grandfather drank Falstaff.
Oh, like the city in Arizona?
I suppose. Yes, I don't know.
Falstaff
I don't know
beer.
where it was brewed from. Do you know?
It was cheap. That's why they drank it, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, it was. You calling my parents cheap? My grandfather? No, it was
Yeah.
cheap. That's why they drank it.
Yeah.
Do you know what the largest American-owned brewery is?
Anheuser-Busch?
Yuengling.
Yuengling.
Anheuser-Busch is owned by an international company. I think it's out of InBev in France. But yeah, Yuengling, Pennsylvania's own Yuengling. It's the oldest brewery, and it's also the largest in America. As I teased earlier, and I always use this term too much, as I teased earlier, as we say in the biz, we were talking about our next guest, and Nick and I were talking off the air, and me and my buddies playing poker recently were talking about it. Who enjoys his job more? It might be a tie. Our next guest, the president and CEO of the Heinz History Center, Andy Masick, or Rick Seebeck from WQED. These guys are the happiest people in what they're doing I think I've ever known in my life. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, the talk line, Andy Masick again, president, CEO, Heinz History Center. Andy, you do like your job, do you not?
I tell you, what's not to love about history, sharing history with people. There are lots of great stories to tell, especially here in Western Pennsylvania, where we have more than our fair share of interesting history.
Yeah, we're a little biased here in Fayette County. The amount of history that came right out of this county is amazing at times. And what we have here in terms of state parks, national parks, Albert Gallatin's Friendship Hill, and Fort Necessity, the stories that come out of this corner of the state, Boston will probably say they rival it. I don't know if you have a more historic region of this country that's been so well documented and saved. You think about George Washington bought the land where Fort Necessity was because he thought, we probably should save this. And you think about somebody back then saying, let's buy the land just to hold on to it, just see what happens.
Well, he was he was shrewd. He was only 11 years old when his father died, and George really didn't inherit hardly anything. He didn't inherit the estate or any money. He didn't go to fancy schools in England like his older half-brothers did. He really had to kind of make it on his own, and he felt land poor. So after the French and Indian War, he made a deal with the men who had come out to the western wilds with him. They had received land grants in payment for their services. And most of those guys said, hey, I'm never going to be out here again. And so George bought their property for 10 cents on the dollar and ended up owning nearly 60,000 acres in western Pennsylvania. So he was a a pretty shrewd operator, and that's how he built his wealth.
Yeah. You think of something like the Battle of Jumonville Glen, that piece of property, a little splop of land that started the French and Indian War, has been saved and preserved. Great stuff. Let's get back to the museum. Speaking of expanding, you guys certainly are. You just had a great ribbon cutting recently for the expansion of the Heinz History Center in Pittsburgh's Strip District. It's quite an endeavor, is it not?
It is. You know, we're very proud that just recently USA Today named the Heinz History Center the #1 history museum in America. And our attendance has been skyrocketing, especially since we announced that the History Center is free for kids 17 and under. And that's forever, thanks to a grant from Dan and Carol Kamen. We now offer free admission for kids. So it's altogether fitting that we expand the History Center now. We're going to be adding smart classrooms, new exhibit galleries, an auditorium so you can watch a film about, you know, how did we get here and why are we the way we are. We made an agreement with Visit Pittsburgh, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, to be the official welcome center for Pittsburgh. We just recently installed that. But there'll also be new features like a new cafe and spaces for programs and events. So we're pretty excited about this 92,000 square foot addition, which should be completed in the next 18 months.
Yeah, that's quite a sizable expansion. Some people, it's hard to understand what square footage is, but that's quite a. Basically, you're going to be a city block in the. So I was just at the museum 3 days ago, and
so you're right. It's a whole city block between Smallman Street and Penn Avenue, 12th and 13th, situated in the Strip District, right next to the Convention Center.
I know that I guess there was thoughts of reusing the buildings next door. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, but I can't imagine how terrific this is going to look, and it's going to blend right in. I've seen some of the drawings, and it'll be a great addition. Of course, the Sports Museum is now the Franco Harris Sports Museum, and that I don't think I've ever been in there where I didn't get, and this sounds corny, but I'm telling the truth, I don't get goosebumps watching some of those videos.
You know, you're right. When you come in, you walk past the figure of Franco making the Immaculate Reception, and then you go past a locker room, then down a corridor as if you're going from the locker room out onto the field. And then you get to this artificial turf area, and there are artifacts on the wall all around you, and then the lights dim and dramatic music starts to play. And then you see all the great highlights from Western Pennsylvania sports history. And as you get to the different highlights in the film, objects around the room light up. Like when you see Franco make the Immaculate Reception on the video, then the actual turf where he made that famous shoestring catch, it illuminates and a light X appears on the very spot where he was standing or running when he made that catch.
I was at the event, this is many years ago, when Franco donated to the Heinz History Center the cleats he was wearing.
Yeah,
that's
right.
That happened.
Yeah, you were there that day, and those shoes are still on, those size 12s are on exhibit still, and it's one of those touchstones, one of those things that connect you to the past. Many people say, well, I was in the stadium that day, or I was watching. I had to go out of town because of the blackout. I had to go out of town to watch the game. And they say, I was there and I saw him running in those shoes. And I don't know, there's something about the genuine article that connects you to the past.
It's hard to figure out how 250,000 people were in the Three Rivers Stadium that held 60,000 people to see that Immaculate Reception. How many people claim to have been there for that day? I remember you talked about when they used to black out. If they didn't sell out a game by a certain day of the week,
right?
I remember as a kid, somebody in our neighborhood would say, "Hey, they sold out the game. It's going to be on TV this week," so we could watch the Steeler games. I guess I'm showing my age there. But when you think about that, I took a friend. This is now maybe a year or so ago, who is not a sports fan at all. In fact, he prides himself in not being a sports fan. I couldn't get him out of the history of the sports museum. He's like,
really,
this may have
That's
changed
great
me.
to hear.
He just never was into sports, and he said, this may have changed me. He said, wow, I had no idea. And he went through there, and just to see that. Another buddy I took there one time almost fell over when he saw a photo of his dad in one of the displays. I think his dad played football for Carnegie Tech. And he's like, that's my dad. I'm like, come on. He's like, that's my dad. And he had no idea.
That's a home run for us. When we hear people connect like that with our exhibitions, that's what we do it for.
One of the neat things, I think, you have a storage area. Now, most museum storage areas you couldn't get near. Your storage areas are on public display. I guess, is that one way to put it? When you go up into that one room I like so much, there's an odd little car on the right side there. I'd love to drive that little car. And then it's just such a neat thing that you publicly display your storage area. Is that unprecedented in museums? I've been to museums everywhere.
It's not unprecedented anymore. We were one of the first to do it. And what we do, we call it special collections, and then we also have an area we call visible storage. And this is for all the material that collectors and connoisseurs, they want to see everything. They want to see all the Kentucky rifles, or all the glass, or all of Mr. Rogers' sweaters. So we put them out without a lot of labels and interpretation. I mean, you can find that information. We've got books and QR codes and things where you can get more information. But, some people just want to see all the stuff. They may be collectors, or they may be curators, or they may just be curious. And so we have these visible storage vaults that people really seem to like.
Well, congratulations on your expansion plans. I can't wait to be there when it opens. I have 4 daughters. One's a history major. I think because I took them so many times to the History Center and to all the historic sites in southwestern PA, and she used to come down there all the time with her fellow history majors from Duquesne University. One other topic I wanted to talk to you about, and of course, a lot of attention to the space program these days with the Artemis program,
Right.
Artemis 2 going around the moon. One of my favorite exhibits at the Heinz History Center is basically Pittsburgh's role in the Apollo era missions, and the role it continues to play, Pittsburgh does, in lunar logistics and space robotics. But we're not Houston, we're not Cape Canaveral, but my gosh, the role that Rockwell International played and other companies in Pittsburgh played in space travel back in the 60s and 70s was enormous, wasn't it?
You're right, Doug. We wouldn't have gone to the moon in 1969 without the people of Western Pennsylvania. When President Kennedy made that claim in the early 1960s, he said, we're going to put a man on the moon and return them safely by the end of the decade. Unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to see that, but 400,000 Americans worked on the Apollo missions. And in 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins flew in a Pittsburgh-built or a North American Rockwell-built capsule called the Columbia capsule. It was made of Alcoa aluminum and PPG glass. And over in Ambridge, they made the vehicle assembly building for NASA, the largest building in the world at that time. The Hillman Company made a crawler that took that Saturn V rocket that was made by North American Rockwell. It drove it on tracks at 1 mile an hour to take it to the launch pad. This was a huge rocket, almost as tall as the Cathedral of Learning, and they had to move it vertically to the launch pad. But all these other companies, Westinghouse made the cameras that brought you the live images of those astronauts landing and walking on the moon. And even that flag that they stuck in the moon dust there was designed by a Pittsburgh guy named Jack Kinsler. Jack was told, hey, we need to stick a flag on the moon so people know that Americans were here first, but there's no wind on the moon. You know, a flag would just hang there like a limp rag. So, Jack, could you figure out something? Well, he designed a telescoping aluminum pole with a cantilevered arm on it, and he went to Sears and Roebuck and bought the $5 nylon flag. He was going to buy the $2.50 cotton flag, but his buddy came with him and said, hey, Jack, this is like for eternity. So why don't you spring for the $5 flag? And he said, okay. And, you know, he's a real Pittsburgher. And so that's the flag that's on the moon today, marking the spot where Americans and a lot of Pittsburghers helped put a man on the moon.
Yeah, I think Rockwell International built all the space shuttles, Pittsburgh-based company. Yeah, really amazing stuff. As you can tell, I'm a space geek. I've told the story so many times on this show that I think people are bored with it. When they landed on the moon, I was sitting on my living room floor watching our black and white TV. And my mother said I was getting so excited at age 6. She ran and got a brown paper bag out of the kitchen. She thought I was going to start hyperventilating when we landed on the moon, watching Walter Cronkite mention. And of course, we had to watch Cronkite and about them landing on the moon.
Well, there were a lot of things we didn't know, too, Doug. When Neil Armstrong got back into the lunar lander, Buzz Aldrin followed him. And, you know, they had those big backpacks on. Those were the cooling system because the temperature range on the moon is 200 degrees above zero and 200 degrees below zero. So they had to have their own climate control systems with them. Well, when they got back into the lander in order to blast off the moon and return to the Columbia capsule, it was a pretty tight fit. And they Aldrin spun around inside the lander, closed the hatch behind him, and then when he turned around again, his backpack sheared off the switches made by Union Switch and Signal, and broke off the firing switches that were to be flipped to blast them up off the moon. Well, geez, these guys, they could still be there today, but Buzz and Neil MacGyvered a solution using a ballpoint pen that they took apart. They jammed it into the hole left by the broken switch, and looking at their wristwatches at the exact second, they jammed the pen in and pushed it up, and the rockets fired, and they blasted off and rendezvoused with the Columbia capsule.
Of all the switches to break.
We didn't realize that.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go right ahead.
Well, we didn't realize that this drama was going on. You were on the floor of your living room, you know, watching the blast off, but it was nip and tuck, and those guys almost didn't make it back.
Well, they landed on the moon with 12 seconds left of fuel.
Yeah.
When they were supposed to
You're
land
right
with
about that.
a minute and a half worth of fuel. You can see how many documentaries, how many books I've read on this over the years.
Do you know why they were so short on fuel? When they approached the landing site, the onboard computer couldn't keep up with the calculations. I mean, we all have more computing power in our iPhones than all of NASA had in 1969. And so they had to switch to manual to land that lunar lander on the moon. And when they took over, Buzz Aldrin was the pilot, and he had about 12 seconds of fuel left when they set that thing down. I tell you, that whole mission could have gone wrong a bunch of times, but those guys, by good training and a lot of guts, made it happen.
Yeah, the famous line from the communications at Houston Control said, "You got a lot of guys breathing again. We were turning blue down here because
turning blue. Yeah,
they had 12 seconds of fuel left." We're talking with Andy Masek, President and CEO of the Heinz History Center. about their recent groundbreaking on their expansion 18 months away from that. And, of course, named for the great Senator John Hines, who I was proud to meet and talk to several times when I worked for his colleague, Arlen Specter, back in the day. And it's great to have it named for him. I always enjoy thinking about Jack Hines and the role he played in Western Pennsylvania. I love the Hines Food exhibit, the Hines Corporation exhibit at the museum as well. As you can tell, I'm a regular visitor, Andy. And
I know you are.
I think it's great that you have a visitor center. This is a while back. I was at one of the visitor centers. I don't even know where, on the interstate somewhere, and it was one of the ones that's staffed. And I was standing there, and the person working stepped away for a minute, and somebody came in, had all these questions, so I'm answering all of them. And she said, "How long have you worked here?" I said, "I don't. I'm just stopping in to use the men's room." And she said, "Well, you answered all the questions." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I like this stuff." And then the other person came back, and it was sort of funny.
Doug, we're looking for some volunteers at the Heinz History Center, and if you got a spare weekend sometime, come on down and help us man the desk at the Visit Pittsburgh Welcome Center.
I'd be honored. You come in, it's right on the right. It looks great right there. It really
That's
does.
right.
So.
And on the other side is our museum store, which has all kinds of unique Western Pennsylvania products, from mugs with Mr. Rogers on it. His sweater changes colors when you pour hot stuff in it. Our Heinz pajamas, we can't keep them in stock. They're pickle pajamas and ketchup pajamas, that really soft kind of fabric that the ladies really love. So, matter of fact, that's a good thing to think of for Mom, for Mother's Day. Come on down to the History Center Museum store and stock up on some gifts for Mom.
My refrigerator at home is covered with magnets of Pittsburgh. My daughters, I have 4 daughters. She said, "Dad, we're running out of unique magnets to buy for you at the Heinz History Center," because they bought me so many. And I learned the hard way: do not put that Mr. Rogers mug in the dishwasher. It ruins
you're
the
not
cover.
supposed to do that.
So no, I learned the hard way, so I had to buy another one. Don't tell my kids that I ruined the one they bought me, but I went and bought another one, so I make sure I have one. Yeah, don't put them in the dishwasher. I learned that. And I liked on the bottom of the mug of all the crazy things, it says use other side. Like if you have the mug upside down, brilliant advice, I think. You want to flip it over. It actually says use other side.
It doesn't hold much when you
when you have it upside down.
Yeah.
Andy, you've given us some extra time today. Thanks so much. We really do appreciate. Congratulations on the designation of the #1 history museum in America by USA Today. The new visitor center, the expansion. It just keeps going and going and going. And again,
hey, thanks. And remember, Doug, those kids are free at the History Center. 17 and under, you can bring them for free.
Thanks to the Kamen family. Great contributor
That's right.
to our region. You have a good evening, Andy. Thanks so much. Look forward to
our
next conversation.
Take care. We'll see you at the History Center.
You got it. Take care. Andy Masick from the Heinz History Center. We're going to take a break here. We come back. We're going to talk Pirate baseball with Herald Standard columnist Bill Hughes, who, when I was talking to him the other day, apparently he was making reservations, Nick, to go to another Major League stadium somewhere. Although don't be jealous.
No, not at all.
Stick around. We'll be back.
It's gorgeous outside, which means it's time to get to Bittersweet Cafe of Farmington. From their incredible daily lunch specials featuring farm-to-table fresh ingredients to their refreshing drinks, frozen treats, smoothies, and iced tea, Bittersweet Cafe has something for everyone. Enjoy this beautiful spot nestled in the Laurel Highland Mountains, just a few miles outside of Ohiopyle on Farmington, Ohiopyle Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
This is attorney Michael Mays of the Davis & Davis Law Firm. We have been helping injured people just like you recover millions of dollars for over 45 years. If you're hurt or injured, I want to meet you and make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call me at 724-437-2799 for your free consultation. The Davis & Davis Law Firm has been protecting our neighbors in Greene and Fayette counties for over 45 years. Go to davisanddavislaw.com or call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
Join WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:15 a.m. for the Master Gardener Show with Bert Sessler from Penn State's Master Gardener program. The weekly program will take you through the growing season, from planting your garden, preparing the soil, starting plants from seeds, through to the planting of vegetables, herbs, annuals, and perennials, to the fall harvest of vegetables. Our Master Gardener program is being brought to you each Saturday by Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop, Route 119, Smithfield.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sproul's Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to SproulsInsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
I used to wish, for Nick's sake, when he's working a West Coast game, although there's even later games. This game starts tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks at 9:40. The West Coast games start at 10:30, right? So I guess do I have this right? I guess I could look this up pretty simply. I guess Phoenix is in the Mountain Time Zone, not the Western.
Let me look that up. I'm pretty sure it's Western. They just start their games at 6:40 like the Pirates do.
So the Pirates lost last night 9-0, but they've had some of the strangest recently series. They score 16 runs in 4 games.
They're Pacific time.
Oh, they Pacific. Oh, they must
start their games at 6:40.
That's an earlier game, yeah.
Well, the Pirates do that. Yeah.
So they score 16 runs in 4 games against St. Louis and get swept. They go up against the first place Cincinnati Reds. They win a game 9-1, 17-6.
No.
I think, and then win 1-0. I think in the history of sports, the Eli Sports Bureau could tell us this. Did a team ever score 17 runs and win a game, and the very next day score 1 run and win a game? Who would know better than that? Our next guest joining us on the WMBS Newsmakers line, columnist for the Herald Standard, Bill Hughes. Bill, do you think that's a record? Team ever score 17 runs one game and win, and 1 run the next game and win? Pretty bizarre stuff.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. And thanks for having me, guys. Always good to talk to you. I don't know. I mean, that's something I'm sure somebody looked that up, but I haven't heard it. That's just.
It was bizarre when you think how that could happen.
They were shut out last night.
Yeah, they shut out last night 9-0.
17 runs and they win 1-0, lose 9-0. It's been an odd few weeks, and they were swept by the Cardinals in 4, then they swept the Reds in 3. So it's been weird.
And the Reds are a lot better than the Cards.
Right.
And still the National League Central is the only team that has all teams over 500. We'd be in first place in the American League in one of the divisions.
If only.
What?
If only.
If only. That's right. That's easy to say. It's you're in last place and you're over 500. That doesn't happen too often in baseball, does it, Bill?
No, that is rare. That is definitely very rare.
So, Bill, what do you? If you're watching the team so far, we're a month in, and maybe better than you thought, worse than you thought. Just take a look at what you like and don't like pitching, offense. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I been watching a little closer, more close than I normally do. The team, some of the signings or the trades for that matter, they brought guys in. I mean, I think everybody was hoping that they would step it up, do better. I thought it would take a little longer than it has, and yeah, I mean they were definitely playing well. Not that I'm trying to look past this season, but we'll see what they do with Lau. I believe this is a free agent year for him, but there's definitely more talent than the team has had in the past, in recent years, and it's been exciting so far. The bullpen definitely has to step it up a little bit. But
the signing of a 19-year-old to a
Connor
Griffin to a 7-year contract.
9, I believe.
Oh, is it 9?
It was
I
9.
mean, that's Yankees type stuff. Yeah. Signing a 19-year-old to a 9-year contract worth $140 million. That is so un-Pirates to do something like that. Right. And a lot of that money's guaranteed money. That was a heck of a step. So far, I think so good for a guy who's now 20 years old. If they win a big game, he can't drink the champagne, legally at least. It is just it's bizarre that Nutting agreed to that. That's Steinbrenner type money, isn't it? I mean, Nick, Bill, that just shocked me when I first read that. I thought it was
it's about time they had to pay somebody.
Yeah, but
they're not going to pay schemes.
9-year long contract to a 19-year-old. That's amazing stuff. How do you think he's played so far, Bill?
I mean, he's bringing it together. I mean, he has it. He's built like a lot of players aren't. And the fact that he just turned 20 a couple weeks ago, and I mean, he's just gonna physically mature even more. And I mean, he's already. I mean, you seriously look at the players. I mean, he looks like a player more than anybody else on the team, and he just turned 20. He's playing well. I mean, I think his average he's up to 267 now, and he's on pace for about 80, maybe a little north of 80 RBIs, which, once he gets going here, I mean, sky could be the limit for him. He's bringing it, at the plate. He's starting to get more comfortable. He's already up to 7. I believe it's 7 stolen bases. So yeah, I mean, he's playing well, and you throw in, I think Cruz's average has dipped as of late, but he's putting some numbers up, and it's gonna get a couple of these other guys to pick it up. But Reynolds, he's like that perpetual, almost there but not getting there. It just.
Nick Gonzalez has been hitting really well. His average is one of the best in baseball, so that's promising. So there are promising things in that lineup, but it's still early. And pitching-wise as well, what do you make of Skeens had a rough start his last time out. He's pitching tonight. Braxton Ashcraft was great Sunday. Last night, Bubba Chandler struggled. So what do you make of the rotation, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, everybody looks at the rotation as being a strength, and Skeens had the tough start in New York. This last one didn't go too well, but.
Well, that reminds you that he is a human being. Yeah, sometimes we forget about that.
Popular opinion.
Yeah, that's the truth. And I was just reading a piece today where they were talking about, it was on The Athletic. It was talking about the different teams and, who is looking like an all-star, with this or that. And they were talking about Soto coming out of the bullpen. And the guy, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of, Skeens, he's going to be the starter in the All-Star game, until he doesn't want to be the starter in the All-Star game. Right. So it's just kind of funny to think that the guy is playing, 25, 30 miles, 35 miles, from us. And I mean, I if I could share a story, a couple Mondays ago, I went down to the game. Skeens was pitching, and they were playing. I think it was the Nationals, and I went down with a good friend of mine. Dr. Dan Bosnick, he's the superintendent of Uniontown School District. And we took his 2 boys down because they're just turned 7 and either 4 or 5. I think 7 and 5. Say. But the 2 boys are so into baseball. They're so into card collecting. And the drive down, they just were talking about Skeens. They're talking about Skeens. And like, hey, we get to see Paul Skeens. And it's just seeing the look on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's
and he's a pirate. This guy's a pirate.
Right. that was my life when I was in the 70s. I mean, the Pirates in the 70s were incredible. And that's great to hear young kids into baseball because it's been a long time since the Pirates could get the younger crowd there. And it's great to hear a story like that. That's terrific. O'Neill Cruz, every time a ball goes to center field, you get lumps in your stomach. Like, what's going to happen? He calls off Reynolds the other day. Reynolds could have caught the ball easily. It bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. It just at times, like, good heavens, the guy can throw a baseball faster than pitchers can. He smashes balls. He had a ball the other day that was so far gone, but it was foul. He's
a perplexing guy.
Yes,
Cruz.
it is frustrating. Where do you put him? People say he's not a major league center fielder, but he's got an arm that's amazing. Yeah. He was clock throwing a ball from the outfield at 114 miles an hour. Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. Put him on the mound.
Throws it really hard, hits it really hard. It's usually to someone, but
right. He's exasperating at times.
Yeah, that's a good word.
But still, I'm glad he's on the team because I think he's going to clear up some of those issues.
He's very talented.
Yeah, he really is. And the bonehead play he did in the opener that gave Paul Skeens an ERA of 65 after 2/3 of an inning.
Yeah.
He gave up 5 runs. He gave up as many runs in 2/3 of an inning than he gave up in any start last year. And most of that was because O'Neill Cruz ran forward on a fly ball and it went over his head.
And the crazy thing is that's the second straight opening day game he did that. I was in Miami last year for the series against the Marlins, and he did the same thing there. He misplayed a couple balls. So I think next year he needs to be a DH for the opening day.
His my old high school baseball coach, I was constantly running in on balls. I played center field. He said, "Doug, I don't care if it's a bunt to the pitcher. I want you running backwards 10 feet."
That's good advice. Right.
Because I would run up on everything, and then it would be over my head.
Yeah, the first step should be
I taught that in Little League.
Yeah.
Taught that in Little League.
Yeah, I didn't get that till senior year of high school. When the coach told me that, he said, "Doug, I'm sick of balls going over your head. You could have caught. Run backwards."
Did he tell you to lean into pitches intentionally? Is that the same guy?
I couldn't hit. He was the one that said, "Let the ball hit you, Doug."
There you go.
Call the pitcher fat so he throws at you.
Jason
Different
Campbell
era of high school baseball coaching.
Right.
Nowadays, I'd have been in counseling. He'd have been fired. Channel 4 would have been there.
Choppers.
The whole thing. But the Pirate season so far, what's happening with the Bucks, it's exciting to watch. I went to a game down in Cincinnati. First time I was ever in Great American Ballpark, and they took Skeens out after 77 pitches, and fans for the Reds booed. They didn't want him taken out because they enjoyed watching this guy. There were people near us, Reds fans, were booing when they took him out of the game because he was pitching fine.
It's frustrating.
The pitch count issue is exasperating at times. Nick, you jump in.
Oh, just watching the team. Don Kelly, the manager in his first full year, suspended, did not manage last night. But overall, Bill, what do you make of the job he's doing in the staff? Bill Murphy, the pitching coach. How do you think the staff is doing this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a step in the right direction. The change had to happen last year. I so far so good. I mean, we could all be, I don't say armchair quarterbacks, but we could all be armchair bullpen pitchers, or I don't know what the baseball phrase would be, so shame on me for even trying to be funny there. But, we could always critique this or that. Why did he do this? Why didn't he do that? But no, I mean, Kelly and the staff, I mean, doing pretty well. It's like I'm hoping that the pitching coaches, if you will, can get this bullpen going in the right direction outside of Soto. I mean, they're struggling.
Yeah. Overall, go ahead, Doug.
No, go ahead.
No, overall, as watching baseball, you're such a big fan going to all these parks. What do you make of the changes in baseball, the pitch clock in another year, and this year, the ABS system, the automated ball strike system? So how do you make of those changes?
I've always liked the pitch clock. Reason being is that, of the 4 major sports, baseball, when you're talking youth and younger kids, kids, they're raised now in this instant gratification society. Social media, YouTube, and video clips, and not want to watch the whole game, they just watch highlights. Right. And baseball being the slowest of the 4 major sports, and you want to throw soccer, and it's slower than soccer, too. Yeah. And, it just, I think the pitch count has helped, because some of those games were getting long, and I'm not just talking Red Sox-Yankees games. Those ones are always crazy long. But it's just the game in general. It would be like on a school night for me being an educator. going down, it would be tedious. It'd be like, oh my goodness, like I'd be getting tired like fifth or sixth inning. Like there's no way I'm staying till the end. I have a 45-minute drive home.
Yeah,
You know, and it's like,
Yeah, baseball's supposed to have a nice, leisurely pace, not a slow, pondering pace. As
Right.
Bob Costa said it. He can say anything better than anyone. But yeah, it was getting ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember even an umpire one time at a Yankees-Boston game about, 8 years ago said they need to do something.
Yes.
A 4.5-hour, 9-inning game.
Ridiculous.
The Pirates had an opening game. I think it was 2022. Final score was 4-3. It was 4 hours long.
In 9 innings.
Yeah.
It was just awful.
And so you have people maybe tuning in for the opening day or going to the opening game and say a 4-hour game. And we, I remember we used to get there in the third inning with my 4 kids because they couldn't make the whole game, and I wanted to see the 9th inning.
Right.
And you couldn't keep
Yeah.
score, which I know you love.
Yeah, I couldn't. It's hard to keep score. The kids are running around in
Well,
circles. That's for sure. As we talked to Bill Hughes. Bill, if people want to follow you, what type of social media do you do? Of course, you write the column for the Herald Standard. Folks can check you out there.
yeah, and I actually I'm gonna be getting a hold of Rob, the sports editor there at the Herald. I have a couple story ideas. I'm hoping he is on board with me doing. He's pretty good about that. I am on X, formerly Twitter, at Bill Hughes _ III for the Roman numeral 3. Except I'm Bill Hughes III. But yeah, that's where I'm at on X. I have a personal Facebook account. I've never gotten on the Instagram, But yeah, I'm on X. That's where I'm at. I don't post a whole lot of stuff. I might repost stuff here or there, but I really should be doing more stuff on there, but I'm not.
Well, it's a
And
lot.
one.
Yeah. I was into it.
Yeah.
Nick got so sick of me talking about Twitter for a while. I found, Doug, I'm sick of hearing about it, and then I just quit.
I mean, the
mentioned
internet's a fad anyways, we all know.
Yeah, we had a guest on one time. I said, check her out on Twitter. I didn't realize. He goes, Twitter? I haven't posted something on Twitter in 15 years or whatever it was. I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't look closely at it. But yeah, it comes and goes. Yeah. And it's the Pirates season so far. It's interesting. Nobody knew for sure whether Kelly was going to be back. Obviously, he jumped in last year after the firing of the Pirates manager, and but he seems to have righted the ship. I'll wait till 50 games. That's what me and my buddies have decided.
Yep.
50 games.
They say Memorial Day is a good benchmark. That's a few weeks.
Yeah,
There you go.
and we'll see what happens. But if you take a look at right now in baseball, the Braves, now it's only 28 games into the season. They are 9 games ahead of the Phillies.
Is that true? Wow.
9
NL
games.
East, wow.
The Braves are 26-12. The Phillies are 4 games under 500 at 16-20.
They fired their manager, the Phillies. They're struggling.
Yeah. The Pirates are in last place, 2 games over 500. You put them, as I mentioned earlier, their winning percentage is .528. Who would ever think we'd be happy with last place? But .528.
It's a good division.
You put them in. You put them in the American League Central, where the first place team, the Tigers, are a game under 500.
Yeah, and their best pitcher's out with elbow injury.
Right.
Elbow injury.
And,
Tarek Skubal.
and we'd be in first place in the American League West as well. Yeah, it's kind of some strange things. But for Atlanta to have a lead that big, that's almost insurmountable this early in the season.
Yes.
A 9-game lead.
That's big. Then, of course, the Dodgers. I mean, they're on a roll going for their 3rd straight World Series. And, Bill, I mean, watching them and Ohtani specifically, you have to marvel at what he does.
Oh yeah, I mean, as I say, his first few years up, I wasn't drinking the proverbial Kool-Aid, if you will. I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy's the second coming of Babe Ruth to everybody. Like, good grief, the dude's not perfect, but he's a darn good baseball player. Holy cow!
The last few
he's
years he was
crazy.
a better hitter. Now this year he's a better pitcher than a hitter. He's just a freak. I mean, he really
It
is.
is unheard of.
Incredible.
Yeah. And I don't like that there's a specific rule for him.
Yeah.
That seems a little weird. But
It
when you're
is.
that good, maybe you deserve your own rule
I would agree.
that
I really
allows you
would.
to stay in a game.
Think of all the great players over the years. Pete Rose, Barry Bonds,
Oh.
Willie Mays. They didn't do both. I mean, he's doing
Right.
both well.
Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is amazing
Pitching
to watch.
and hitting. I mean,
A freak of nature sounds insulting, but it's not.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
just
no,
who he is. Of course, the Pirates taking on Arizona tonight. We'll go to that pregame show at, and I got to get this right, Nick. We're going to the pregame show at 9:14 and 45 seconds. I'm
That's
told.
it. Yes, our
Yeah,
pregame
that's
show
it.
sponsor now. But yes, these West Coast games, they're rough. And Bill, I know you travel around. We've talked about your favorite parks, but those West Coast parks, San Francisco this weekend. That's that I've never been, but that's the only one that rivals PNC. Am I right?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, those two and Petco out in San Diego are my 3 favorites.
San Diego. in general is a beautiful
Petco
city.
skyline, the panoramic view in PNC, you can't touch it, but the city, if you're in the ballpark, the skyline goes left to right. San Diego, the skyline, goes kind of straight back, like center field, like a hair off to the right center field. And so it's a little different of the skyline. But, yeah, those are my three favorites. San Francisco, if I could watch a game there every day, I would. It's beautiful. I do recommend getting out there. It's good. But, I mean, Seattle's good, too. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with all those. I know the Pirates in Phoenix tonight. I know they're talking about doing a lot of renovations out there. And as I was waiting to come on, you guys were talking about the time change. The difference with Arizona is they don't do the clock, the turn back the clock or any of that.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, so some parts of the year they're 2 hours behind us. Other part, the other part of the year.
That is weird. So they're technically mountain time, but they are
Part-
3 hours back.
Part of the state does, part of it doesn't.
So odd.
You could literally drive across the state and be in 3 time zones.
You said Indiana did that too, right?
Indiana. Well, I remember that's way off the topic, but we were once we slept in a campground the night before the Indy 500. We woke up late. We thought we were going to miss the start of the game or start of the race, and we got there and it was an hour earlier. We couldn't figure out why. This is long before handheld cell phones. Well, the state of Indiana did daylight savings time. The city of Indianapolis did not.
That's so weird. That's
tremendous.
Uniontown being one time, Connellsville being another.
Oh, yeah, good luck with that.
That would be a strange one. Bill Hughes, we enjoy our conversations with you. We always bounce all around the topic. But we're glad to be able to talk to you. And we'll check back in with you probably next month sometime. We'll get your latest. We're at the 50-game mark.
Ooh.
And we'll see.
Hey, sounds good. As often as you like, I always enjoy being with you guys. And hey, the one question I didn't answer, you talking about the ABS. I am a fan of it. I like that, and it doesn't slow things down.
No, they're quick with it. It is
cool.
Yeah.
Usually when they put something new like that, it doesn't go well at first. Like when they first had instant replay in football, it would take 8 minutes to get a call. But this is bam, that quick.
It's fun. Why not?
Yep, I totally agree. I don't like the extra inning rule where they're playing.
Oh,
with
that's
the
guy in
Olympic
second base.
softball. I
That's
don't like
stupid.
that,
Limited throws to first. Dumb. Ask Steve Blass. He despises it.
I will defend the extra inning thing. I will. I mean, 18-inning games, just nobody wants to watch that. They don't do it for the playoffs. If they did it for the playoffs, I would revolt, but they're not. So.
You're right. Bill, thanks so much, folks. Make sure you check out Bill's writings in the Herald Standard. Check them out online as well. Happy
Appreciate
travels.
you guys. Always good talking to you.
All right, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Thanks,
All
Bill.
Right, bye-bye.
We're going to take a break and wrap up the show. Stick around.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest. Now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States, located right here in Fayette County, is hiring. Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's included on the UNESCO World Heritage List, has a variety of opportunities for new team members, including openings in the Education Department, the Falling Water Cafe, the Membership Department, the Maintenance Department, the Museum Store, Security, and the Visitor Services Department. The team at Falling Water is growing, and now is your chance to be a part of history as a valued member of the team, sharing this remarkable creation with tens of thousands of visitors every year. With a mix of full-time and part-time positions and offering flexible scheduling, competitive compensation, and unique perk benefits, now is the time to visit www.fallingwater.org/careers. Check out these opportunities today and come be a part of history at Falling Water.
And that's a wrap for the extended edition of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden. What's your name over
Bill
there?
Barczyk. That'd be a cool name, Bill Barczyk.
Bill
Combine
Barczyk.
them.
That's Nick Barczyk over there. I'm Doug Saltzman. I think I already said that. Thanks for listening tonight, folks. shorter shows coming up. I think our general manager, Brian, gave me some longer shows because I hadn't been on the air in a couple of weeks. Glad to give up the show for high school sports anytime. Thanks for listening. Pirate Baseball coming up. Pregame show at 6:15. First pitch, 6:15. I'm really mixed up. 9:15. First pitch at 9:40. Enjoy the game, folks.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Michael Toscano. A suicide note Jeffrey Epstein's former cellmate claimed he found after the late sex offender's first